Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Thursday, October the 4th, 2018, 7:45 a.m., and it's time to rock. So last night, we had our first Halloween-themed live stream where we discussed movie curses. And normally I try to stay humble about these things, but I thought last night's live stream went incredibly well. We had a nice flow. A lot of people showed up. It was a lot of fun. People were really engaged with the topic. So shout out to our boy Big Rig, Nick Utam. He came up with the idea. We implemented it well, and I had a fantastic time doing that. So next Wednesday is the Twilight Zone, so make sure you guys come back for that. And then the following week, Tales from the Crypt, 24th, a little surprise coming at you. And then finally, on Halloween, the 31st itself, Halloween proper, we have an all-day Halloween stream, which we have shown on our Facebook page as well as our Twitter. So let me pull that up while you wonderful people are all filing in this morning. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It is not a Patreon stream. It is a straight-up Google Hangout here on YouTube where everyone is invited. Everyone is welcome. They can get the copy of the movie themselves, and we can watch the movies and have a good time. So while I'm pulling that up, let's get this together. By the way, folks, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Some good news, some okay news, some interesting news, something that you would think would entice a guy like me, you know, an average everyday guy looking for a little excitement. But I don't know, maybe I'm too cynical, too heartbroken, Anakin. So for those wondering, this is our Halloween stream schedule, and I'll be mentioning this quite regularly. So if you guys want to watch, you have plenty of time to get the movies. These start at 10 a.m. on Halloween, Wednesday, October 31st. And they go from 10 a.m. to roughly, I don't know, November. So get involved with that. Starting out the day with Cabin Fever. Then we have Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Ernest Scared Stupid, Sorority House Massacre 2, Creepshow, Zombieland, my personal favorite, Halloween, 1978, of course, and Maximum Overdrive. So that is our Halloween schedule, and we'll have little breaks in between. We'll have some Joe Bob Briggs style, what are those called? The kill counts and all that fun stuff, the statistics, the scores. So check it out, guys. Halloween's a lot of fun. It's my favorite holiday, and we're trying to celebrate it with a wider audience. Good morning to everybody here. We already have Super Chat rolling from our friend Kevithar1138. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, chat. Sorry to miss World Class Bullshitters tonight, but I will be driving to a con for my birthday. Well, Kevithar1138 or 113, depending on how you want to interpret those numbers. Happy birthday from all of us here early on. So enjoy your birthday and be safe at your convention. I know they can get tiresome, so protect yourself from the con crud. Drink plenty of water. If you're of age, drink plenty of beer and just have a good time. And again, happy birthday from me, all the guys on the channel, and everyone that's going to be watching, all 75,000 of us. Speaking of folks, we are only about 35 away from 75,000 subscribers. So if you could tell people about us, share the videos, make sure we get a bunch of likes on these, we can get a ton of people to help us, get over the hump, hit 75K, and we can have a big special celebration. So it looks like a lot of people are very happy with the Halloween list. So now remember, Maximum Overdrive was voted on by you. We took a poll, and the only movie that received more than one vote was Maximum Overdrive. So that is why Maximum Overdrive is our final choice. And I'll tell you this, if our numbers are good like they were last night, we're going to do a surprise bonus movie, but you got to be on the stream for us to have that happen. So if you guys don't have Halloween plans, and you may not because it's a Wednesday night this year, make sure you guys spend it with us here all day. We're going to have beer, food, orange juice, everything, and we're going to be watching the movies. So we have hit 200 viewers, so let's start talking about the wars in the stars. Star Wars, the live-action series from Jon Favreau, one of my personal favorite directors in Hollywood. Seems like a pretty cool guy, has made a lot of great content, and he's a good actor on top of that. So I'm a Jon Favreau fan. So when I heard the news that Jon Favreau would be working on his own Star Wars series, I was not very pessimistic. I was fairly optimistic. If you go back, you can watch the video that I did when I wanted to break the news. And I had good things to say about Jon Favreau. So let's start talking about the Jon Favreau information. So first off, Star Wars Celebration is 188 days, 12 hours, 9 minutes, and now 10 seconds away. So if you're going to be there, you can meet me in 188 days and hang out with me, Ethan, Jeremy, all the guys from World Class Bullshitters, all the people from the Geeks and Gamers channel. I wanted to say the High Council, but we're already there. I already said us. So there you go, folks. 188 days, 12 hours, 8 minutes, and now 50 seconds. So Jon Favreau's live-action Star Wars series titled The Mandalorian. I almost said The Mandolin. I was like, wait, that does not work. So this comes from Jon Favreau's social media. The Mandalorian. After the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travails of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. So that actually sounds kind of cool. One thing I will say, and this isn't a nitpick, but if you read this final part of it, a lone gunfighter, which sounds great, in the outer reaches of the galaxy, okay, far from the authority of the New Republic. So I believe that to mean, so that way people can't question where are Han, Luke, and Leia. That's the only real negative thing I have to say about this. I'm not overly angry about the idea of a Star Wars live-action show. And as I said yesterday when we discussed the actor on Good Morning Pop Culture, the guy has a lot of charisma. He's playing Maxwell Lord. He was great in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. So I like that guy as the lead. So he's going to be this lone gunfighter Mandalorian guy. Well, cool. He has the look. For a moment, I thought, wait, he doesn't look like Tamara Morrison. And then I realized clones. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with clones because that was one of the biggest mistakes in Star Wars. A lot of people love the clones, and I, too, love the Clone Wars show. Therefore, I enjoy those characters, but the idea of endless clones in the Star Wars universe add another layer of science fiction that doesn't really mesh with the science fantasy, spiritual nature of Star Wars. So that's just me. But like I said, this is cool. I like Jon Favreau a lot. It's rumored that Dave Filoni is going to be directing some episodes. He'll be getting his first taste of live-action directing. The only negative that's, a big one for me is the fact this is on the Disney streaming service. Now, I get it. They want to make money. They want to do this other stuff. But I personally cannot support the Disney streaming service unless it's like stupid cheap for the channel. Because I did pull the trigger on the DC one, and the results are in, folks. It was a waste of money. But it's nice to go into an era of Star Wars that hasn't been adapted in live action. Now, I think Disney would be smart to just ignore the sequel stuff because it's bad. And I think they'll be smart to just jump into an era that's unexplored, that's kind of familiar. So you'll see, stormtroopers, TIE fighters, X-Wings, possibly, all that stuff. You'll see all the visual cues, but you won't be hitting the same story beats. You won't be going back to Hoth, Tatooine, all that stuff. So this has the possibility of being excellent. I'm not changing my tune on Disney Star Wars because we still have Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger, and J.J. Abrams is out there making his Episode 9 movie, which still does not excite me. And then you have Rian Johnson rolling around with all the bullshit. By the way, folks, more information is coming out about how full of crap that article from Morton Bay Bug is. So I'll be using that as well as other evidence, and I'm going to read the entire thing myself so people don't say, oh, you didn't read the thesis paper. You didn't read the article or the paper. You just read the CNET article. No, I'll do all of it. It's just going to take a little time. So look for that really soon, though. But yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. This seems cool to me. I really don't have too much vitriol towards this idea of a Mandalorian TV show. Now, it's got to be badass, though. It can't be kiddified. This main guy, this new Mandalorian, can't be a bitch. He needs to be a badass dude. He can't be usurped by some 90-pound chick who's never used the Force, but just learned about it that afternoon and is now a master. As long as we don't have a Rey-style character, we're good. You can have cool. Are there female? There are female Mandalorians. They have to continue the race, so you can have female Mandalorians and all that stuff, and that'll be great. Just no Mary Sue characters, no Gary Stu characters. Make the characters work for something. Give them an interesting past. Please do not fall into the Netflix trap of 3 episodes in the current day, then a flashback, then something else, then another flashback, and then we get to the resolution of the series. I hate that about Netflix TV shows. By the way, folks, we have about 300 viewers. Can we get 300 thumbs up? Hit that like button, smash the melee button, pound the muff button. I don't care what you want to call it, but please hit like to help everyone find this video more easily. Our friend Jose Lopez sent in a super chat that says, "Good morning, Jeff. Took the day off for my birthday and got us started off right. Can't wait for Halloween." Well, Jose Lopez, happy birthday, my friend. Enjoy your off day. Do whatever you want to do if you don't have responsibilities. Hell, lay in bed and listen to this show. Listen to last night's stream. Have breakfast in bed. Order a pizza. Have some beer. Do whatever makes you happy. It is your birthday after all. I know on my birthday, it'll be a Sunday. I'll be blown out after the party on Saturday, the last day of Stealing Solo. It will be Stealing Solo's campaign is capped off with an actual birthday party, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Be prepared for that. And by the way, folks, we are about to pass, I believe, $34,000 on that one, getting closer and closer to that stretch goal. So even if we can only get to the $50,000 stretch goal, people are still going to get an anthology, and it's just going to, whet their appetites for what could possibly come in the near future from this channel, in terms of comic books, of course. So good morning to everyone who's out there wishing me a good morning. Let's see. S. Gamble 121682 says, "Can't get interested in anything Star Wars because of The Last Jedi." S. Gamble, I understand where you're coming from. I, too, am not really excited. I think the cynicism and the what's the phrase? I'm not saying I'm thinking about this show. Like, there are 15,000 other things I'm more interested in doing than watching The Mandalorian from Jon Favreau. But when it comes down to it, if I do get exposed to it, I'm not as resistant to it. Excuse me. I don't think Jon Favreau has made anything truly terrible. I like him. I hope he has the power. I think he does have the power, because let's look at the people. Now, J.J. Abrams does have a lot of pull in Hollywood. I can't act like his skinny little neck has no pull in Hollywood. He does. He's a very powerful producer. He's Kmart Steven Spielberg. And like Kmart Steven Spielberg, he has his finger in a lot of pies, but Kmart is on its way out. And I'm not saying J.J. Abrams is on his way out, but he'll never be as recognized as the original Steven Spielberg. So for me, I look at Jon Favreau as a guy who has a following, who has goodwill with Disney already. I mean, look, he started off the MCU. We had Iron Man and Iron Man 2, and, your opinions about Iron Man 2 aside, which it's not my favorite MCU flick, but he does a good job. I believe at one point in time it was rumored he was going to direct the Avengers, which I thought sounds awesome. It might be better. They're in that alternate universe we always talk about here on the channel. Jon Favreau's Avengers may be the greatest film in the world. It made $10 trillion, won 27 Oscars, even for like best musical. That's how good it was. But I like Jon Favreau. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. The Last Jedi sucked. Okay, it sucked. It damaged Solo. It's still, we're being called Russian bots. We're being blamed for the failures of these movies. All this other shit. Believe me, S. Gamble 121682. I get it. I am with you, man. But what I've heard from this has not instilled any fear in me. It's just, oh, okay, Mandalorians post Return of the Jedi, before this new shit, no new no prequel or sequel characters. Cool. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Boba Fett pops up in this show. There's no anything. There's no confirmation, obviously, but I'd be pleasantly surprised to see the old Fett pop up, because in the Legends canon, he didn't die in the Sarlacc pit. He blew his way out. That was one thing. I know this is me fanboying out a little bit, throwing out my own idea, but how about in '97 for the special edition, George Lucas shot a post-credit sequence, unlike, unheard of for Star Wars, where Boba Fett escapes, and that's it. And it just boom, and people are excited. That could have been crazy. I know people would be like, what the hell, man? Why? Why would you do that? I'm just throwing it out there as a weird idea. That way you would have had confirmation, post-special edition, Boba Fett was out there, and you didn't have to read the books or the comic books. But it didn't happen, so some people will say, thankfully. I'll just go, it could have been cool. Our friend Cormoran, thank you very much for your super chat. How long will it take for Kennedy to fire Favreau? Dude, he might be on his way out already. We never know. But if I'm being serious about your question, I actually could see Jon Favreau being at Lucasfilm more in the future than her. The more I think about the Kathleen Kennedy contract extension, I almost said expiration. I guess I'm projecting what I'm hoping for, but the more I think about her contract extension and the more I think about her presence at Lucasfilm, she must be just riding out the thing until episode 9, which is fine, which is completely fine. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to be the future. But hopefully Favreau and Filoni and a couple other really qualified Star Wars creators, Star Wars fans, technical or capable creators, directors, writers, all that stuff come together and create a new Star Wars story group that can lead the future. Because this will always be a dark blemish on the brand of Star Wars. Realistically, the 2015 to now era has been pretty shit. Like I said, the toys dipped in quality. The video games were unplayable. The movies were bad. The fan interaction was garbage. I'm going to talk about George Lucas in a few moments and some preachy piece of shit writer who doesn't want to have George Lucas involved with Indiana Jones. But at least when Lucas was involved, Star Wars was special. Now it's like death and taxes. It just comes all the time. Cesario Japan, thank you very much for your super chat. Could they make Sabine Wren from Rebels and Mary Sue? I've never watched Rebels. I know one episode with Darth Vader, Cesario Japan. So anything's possible with Disney. Let me just Google her real quick so I can know which character we're looking at. Let's see. Because I do want to know. I think she's the Mandalorian chick, right? Because I've seen the action figures out there. Sabine. Sabone. Who's Sabone? There we go. Sabine Wren. Oh, with her purple hair. Oh, I hope she's not in the show. I don't really know her, but why can't we just have all new characters not tied to this TV show? Let her have Rebels and let her have her action and all that stuff. Will the fall to Stealing Solo be saving Skywalker? I don't know. I don't really plan on doing another Star Wars parody, but if this one, blew the doors off the whole thing and a bunch of people bought it, yeah, I could do a Star Wars. I bet you I could do a Saving Skywalker and Mark Hamill would want to get involved. Now, one thing though, so the reason it's called Stealing Solo is because solo is a basic English word that can't be copywritten. Now, the name Han Solo is a property of Disney, but the word solo means so many things. There's solo cups, solo this, solo that. So that's why it's called Stealing Solo, because Disney isn't involved with it. It's an unofficial parody, and therefore I don't really have to, as long as I'm not using their content, they don't have anything to say in the process. Now, if I do something called Saving Skywalker, that might be a little more of a hard sell. But hey, maybe Stealing Solo becomes so popular that Disney's like, well, it would be against our best interest not to let you make the story type of thing. We'll find out. But if a lot of people have interest in it, we could do something with Mark Hamill. Hell, we don't even have to have the Star Wars people involved. It'll just be a story about Mark Hamill. Get him to narrate it. I'm sure he'd freak out. Oh, I'm in a comic book again? No, not Luke Skywalker. You, Mark. Oh my God. He'd be excited. He's a nice guy. But so far, the follow-up to Stealing Solo is some anthology original stuff. I don't really want to jump into the superhero pool because I don't feel like I have anything new to add. But I do have a ton of stories to talk about that are more relevant than you guys can possibly imagine. So that is really the information that's come out on The Mandalorian. It's going to launch for the Disney streaming service, which at times is rumored to have this, at that. So far what we know, it's supposed to be significantly cheaper than Netflix. It's also supposed to have no R-rated content, and we also know for sure it won't have the original 6 Star Wars films, the Lucas era. Why? Because Disney/Lucasfilm had the great foresight in 2016 to sell the broadcast TV rights to Turner till 2021, 2022. I think Turner has the rights longer than Kathleen Kennedy has a guaranteed job, but that's just me thinking on it, out loud, if you will. From what I'm reading in the chat, though, Sabine is a borderline Mary Sue already. I guess it's smart not to have her involved in the story. Let's stop trying to cross over. This is a message to Lucasfilm, not you guys. Let's stop trying to cross over a character from every version. You know, I mean, if Mark Hamill was young and Star Wars was new and you were doing this shit back in the day, seeing Luke Skywalker would have been great. But that's not the case. I still think they should make an animated Luke Skywalker film or something, because the greatest Jedi of all time, you see him become a Jedi, and then you watch him die, but you never get to see him at the height of his powers. It's like Daniel Craig, James Bond. You watch him do all this great stuff to become Bond, and then afterwards it's like, well, now you're too old to be a 00 agent. It's like, fuck. So they missed all the great stuff. Now, I don't think I'm going to watch Rebels. I know a lot of people talk about it positively, and I'm not trying to avoid it to be able to, dump on Disney Star Wars to, push that narrative that, as those against this channel would like to say. I just don't really have time for a kid's show. I'm not interested in a children's TV show that looks that way, or, Star Wars Resistance or any of these things. They want to keep saying Star Wars is for kids. Cool. Let it be for kids, but don't forget where the real money lies with, $800 Jabba the Hutt dolls and all that other crap that the collectors like Ethan buys. Now, if you guys were happy about this Star Wars news, cool, awesome. It's good to have something to look forward to. But imagine seeing something so stupid that a lot of people in the Fandom Menace community, like Doomcock and Stephanie Janisek, have gone out of their way to make videos about it. So I had to check it out. I was like, what is she so angry about? What is Doomcock ranting? I mean, I'll listen to Doomcock read a phone book. I don't care. It's got a great voice. But I found this article that really epitomizes the problem with modern film reporting, modern film making. And I'm not all of a sudden kissing George Lucas's ass because I hate the new Star Wars movies. The dude had good ideas. And when corralled in, George Lucas is one of the best creative minds ever. When given free reign, we have episodes 1 through 3, but we also have episodes 7 and 8 with Appleman. So what's more dangerous? What has damaged Star Wars more? I'm going to go with this one because Disney, the future's not certain. We had a trajectory that we knew with episodes 1 through 3. Disney, no. So Indiana Jones 5 is assembling a writer's room. No George Lucas is allowed. This comes from Randall Colburn. Man, he's got a picture of him and his cat because, that screams credibility. At least Scott Mendelsohn has professional shots taken of him. This guy, hold on, kitty, get in the frame. Boom, you take it on your webcam and you smile. It's like, dude, put on a collared shirt for a photo. So, in a culture overwhelmed by some of the shittiest fan bases on the planet, first off, fuck you, Randall. It's become pretty passé to bag on George Lucas for ruining your childhood or whatever. This is a bad article. That said, we still don't want the dude anywhere near another Star Wars movie. Speak for yourself. That goes the same for the in-development Indiana Jones 5. Speak for yourself. Especially after Steven Spielberg himself blamed Lucas for the failings of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Thankfully, we can rest easy now hearing that Indiana Jones 5 producer Frank Marshall, who has lovingly assured us that Lucas will be nowhere near the script. In a new interview with Coming Soon, Marshall said that while Solo's Jonathan Kasdan has blessedly taken over script duty from Crystal Skull's David Koepp, the production has organized a writer's room to help flesh out ideas. He doesn't say who's in the room, but he does make it clear that Lucas did not get an invite. So we get to be blessed by Jonathan Kasdan, the man who ruined Lando Calrissian. And now we're going to have to put up with Indiana Jones. It's like these people get off on pissing on legacy characters. It's not like you could just make merchandise and pump these movies out every 10 years in theaters and do all this shit and make them big special events. I mean, Harrison Ford likes Indiana Jones. He went to the auction where they auctioned off the hat and the jacket from the movie. I'm sure he'll show up to others. He showed up to the Empire Strikes Back 30th anniversary thing. So the dude will show up for big events. He'll be in the basement making his Return to Han Solo and Stealing Solo Captain's parody. Link in the description below. But this annoys me that you think that Jonathan Kasdan is the right choice because he has the right political ideals. I disagree. I don't care about what he believes in his own personal life, but don't project that onto Indiana Jones, because We all own Indiana Jones much more than Jonathan Kasdan does. His dad did, write Raiders and do all that stuff, and I'm not taking anything away from Lawrence Kasdan in regards to Indiana Jones. But just because your dad did something doesn't mean you're entitled to it. These movies become a part of popular culture, a part of our lives. Look at Michael from Retro Blasting. He's got, I believe he has the hat, and I'm pretty sure I've seen him with a whip too. No, he has a shirt that reminds me of Indiana Jones. That's what it is. My point is, people like him, people like me who dressed up as Indiana Jones for Halloween, all kinds of stuff, is part of the popular culture. It's part of who we are. People say no ticket or no time for love, Dr. Jones. Indiana Jones movies are like a slight step, not even a step below Star Wars, just a lateral step over. Star Wars is in the main spotlight. Indiana Jones is just slightly to the left of it. But this whole Frank Marshall shit, dude, let your wife run Lucasfilm into the ground with Star Wars. Let Indiana Jones try to make a comeback. Number 4 sucked. I've talked about it on this channel extensively. I hate Indiana Jones 4. But this whole anti-Lucas rhetoric is just annoying at best. And people like Randall want to keep pushing it like they have something smart and witty to say. No thanks, Randall. We don't really need your kind. Wait outside with the droids, buddy. But this is what Marshall had to say. I love being with George and having his input, but life changes and we're moving on. He moved on, he said. We're very respectful of the original intention of the movie, certainly Harrison's character, the serialization of the original intention. The serialization was the original intention. I'd love to have George Lucas there, but being around George and working with him, obviously it'll be a little different because the ideas are coming from a different place now. A place we pray free nukes of the fridge, or nukes and fridges. Excuse me. Yeah, Indiana Jones 4 is garbage, but who came up with this shit? George Lucas. Now, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg working together are a pretty good team. I mean, Lucas wanted to do some stupid haunted castle shit with the Last Crusade, and thankfully Spielberg kind of, reined him in. But by that same accord, I do feel that while I love Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, it has so many similarities to Raiders. The one thing I'm worried about is Spielberg seems to be in love with that first movie, and everything he does with Indiana Jones just tries to mimic that. And so while I do love, the religious artifacts and him fighting Nazis and all that shit like that, I don't really need to see a remake or a reimagining of Last Crusade or Raiders. That's why I like Temple of Doom so much. It's so different. It's darker. It's scarier. It's got really great elements. Mola Ram is a great villain. All of this stuff. But, people are really freaking out over George Lucas. The guy's given a lot of people these jobs, so let's stop acting like his ideas are that stupid. Not here to kiss the man's ass, but I will tell you, Star Wars and all these other things were in better hands when he kind of had say, because he didn't fall in line with the corporate ideals of Disney. He didn't fall in line with the politics of the story group. He just did what he wanted to do. He failed once with Indiana Jones, but at the same time, Star Wars and all these things didn't become politicized. They didn't push people out. Agenda wasn't paramount. There are so many things, jumping back to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, so many things I hated. The opening was fine. I didn't even hate the nuking the fridge part. To me, the movie got dumb when Shia LaBeouf, who can't act, got involved. Well, at least back in 2008, Shia LaBeouf was not the 2017 Shia LaBeouf. But I enjoyed the movie up into that point. But then once we got to, oh, my dad's dead, Marcus is dead, there's no Sala, there's no Short Round. Marion, that's what I'm talking about when they're so in love with Raiders. Marion wasn't even the best love interest, okay? People want to bitch about Willie Scott. Oh, she screamed for Indy. She did this. Marion did the same shit. Remember when she was captured by the Cairo guys? She's like, Andy! Running down the street. I mean, at least Willie Scott punched that thuggy guard, caused him to fall off the track, and, helped crash the one minecart. Marion, what? Don't look at it, Marion. She was basically a damsel most of that movie. So let's just get over the fact that maybe she said some coarse words or talked tough, but she really didn't achieve as much or that much at all. I thought Elsa Schneider was a much better Indiana Jones female character as well. She was, secretly a Nazi, and she wanted the Grail and all this stuff, and she crossed the seal. Much more depth to those characters, but they chose to go back to homage Raiders. And guys, Raiders is fantastic. 10 out of 10 flick. But let's not live in the past with that one. Indiana Jones became its own thing by Temple of Doom. Let's keep evolving its own thing. Aliens? Aliens? That was stupid. That was so dumb. So that is really about the George Lucas thing. I can't handle it. I'm not really gonna harp on it too much more because Disney. Why can't we just have a classic character make one more return and not fall victim to garbage? Make this movie like it was 1988. Okay, don't worry about. Look at the movie's going to take place in the 60s, probably early 60s. So I don't want to see hippies and all this other dumb shit. Don't try to infuse modern politics by moving the timetable up as late as possible. You know, and I don't need Indiana Jones to have a fucking daughter or some woman to take his place. There's Lara Croft, there's Tomb Raider. It used to be popular, it's not popular anymore. Sorry, folks. You have your female equivalent of Indiana Jones, and her last name isn't Jones, it's Croft. Let's stop trying to push that narrative. I love how everyone's just quoting Indiana Jones in the chat right now. You guys are going to make me want to stop this show and go watch Indiana Jones. Just fuck it. I'm not going to do anything today productive. I'm just going to go watch Indiana Jones, lay in bed. Okay, no, I'm not. I have shit to do. I like this damn comic. But this saddens me. So Frank Marshall, yeah, it's Frank Marshall, not Gary Marshall. Gary Marshall was involved with other shit. Frank Marshall, thank you very much for instilling less faith and hope in the Indiana Jones property coming from the future. I just am waiting for Jonathan Kasdan to be blacklisted from the industry because the guy's not producing good stuff. Oh, I'm writing Solo, a Star Wars story. The first Star Wars flop. I'm waiting for your excuse. Well, I wrote Indiana Jones 5. The first Indiana Jones flop. I'm like the Mike Zero of Indiana Jones news. I come from the future to tell you that it sucked. Sorry to break your heart, folks. Believe me, I don't want to live in a world where Indiana Jones is shitty either, but we already do. Mutt Williams or Kylo Ren. I'm going to go with Kylo Ren is shittier than Mutt Williams because at least Mutt Williams was only in one flick. Kylo Ren's in multiple, and he's supposed to be the bad guy. The Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much for Super Chat. People underestimate the legacy of George Lucas. Without him, there would be no ILM, no Pixar, no Adobe. There wouldn't be films like this. There wouldn't be films like The Matrix or the MCU if it wasn't for George Lucas changing how movies were made. Ooh, I love this message right here. The legacy of George Lucas is underestimated. I think that's the narrative right now. People want to live in this fucking fantasy world, where the Star Wars prequels ruined it and Disney saved it. No, guys, that is not the case. Okay, I was alive. I wasn't some, I'm not some 10-year-old on a message board trying to talk shit on Facebook or anything like that. I was there. I lived through the prequel era. I've lived through the sequel era. The general consensus was that the prequels weren't that good. People did say nice stuff about it, but people were into the Clone Wars and the other parts of the lore. All things George Lucas helped create. But now I firmly believe that it is Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall, Jonathan Kasdan, and all these other people out there that have some pull at Lucasfilm or Disney. It's their intention to take away the focus, the spotlight from Lucas, and act like he didn't do much, and that it's this new version that's the only one that exists. Be that for money, be that for control. I don't know what the reason is, other than they want to act like they're responsible for the success of these previous franchises. Look, Kathleen Kennedy, I'm sure you dealt with the finances on Last Crusade, and you probably weren't on set very much. Okay, Frank Marshall, you were the actual producer, but Spielberg and Lucas were the dream team, the tag team champions of the world, writing, producing, directing, all that shit. Those movies were really a great response because Spielberg wanted to make a James Bond flick, and Lucas says, "I got something better." Well, Indiana Jones was better. I'm a Bond fan. I'm a Bond aficionado. You hear me talk about James Bond all the time on the channel. Throughout the decade of the 1980s, Indiana Jones was better than James Bond. James Bond was your granddad's superhero or your granddad's action star. Indiana Jones, everybody's action star. mom and dad, all the kids, and the grandparents too, because they took place in the 30s. You could have had older people. Like my grandma likes Indiana Jones movies. Why? Because she recognizes the cars and the era, and she loves Harrison Ford. So, but to jump onto what you actually said, though, I think the legacy of George Lucas, it's the attempt to change history because they think they can control history, therefore they can control the future, and that's just not how it's going to go down. I'm not going to take up a one-man crusade to save the legacy of George Lucas because he's done bad. He's also done a lot of good, but I'll do my best to make sure that I present it in the most level-headed, fair, just way. You can't underestimate Lucas's contributions to these stories, to the way we consume entertainment, to the way modern stories are told in film. Maybe a documentary like Empire of Dreams is a little self-congratulatory, but Star Wars is a huge success. A huge success. I mean, he went and he made that movie. He had the foresight to get marketing or merchandise rights and all these other things, made himself billions of dollars in the process, and he used that to fund other projects and other goals and other things, and it worked out well. Lucas is a huge success story, probably the biggest independent success story in Hollywood. And, you know, people like Kathleen Kennedy had to work for him. Probably don't like him. He has a big ego. I don't know. But they're on this crusade that they think now we're in control and we are going to do it our way and we're going to push out George. But the Grand Inquisitor, you also said stuff like there'd be no ILM or Pixar or Adobe. Again, George Lucas had tons and tons of technical contributions behind the scenes to filmmaking. Let's stop acting like everything began and ended with the Star Wars prequels and he just ruined it. Okay? They're bad, but there's so much more good that the man's done in his career. And if we wouldn't have ILM and the future advances with, you know, look at Jar Jar Binks does not hold up, but maybe Jar Jar Binks is one of the reasons why we have the Incredible Hulk in the Avengers, or we have Ultron or Thanos. I mean, think of how far technology has advanced. And Lucas also pushed for digital projection in cinemas, all kinds of stuff. You know, the THX sound and all these other mastering systems. Maybe he also pioneered, you know, the movie merchandise the way we know it, and that's cost a lot of people money, but it helps you live in a universe. Star Wars is more than just one movie, more than 3 movies. It's somewhere you can live mentally and just be a part of it all the time. So George Lucas really was the grandfather of the modern blockbuster. Kathleen, Frank, Gary, whatever Marshall you are, let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. Please, out there, if you're out there listening to this right now, if you're one of the 400 people watching, do not forget about the contributions that George Lucas made to all of Hollywood, all of entertainment. I wish he was funding this show because we'd have a much better studio, but he's not funding the show. He's not involved at all. These are just my opinions, and I feel like a lot of people don't give the guy credit because it's the narrative. It's the cool thing to shit on him because we're living in the sequel era and Rey is better than Padme. No, she's not. Padme's cool. I liked her. Rey can just fall off a fucking skiff. I don't care. So let's see. Where are we at now? Ido Hagima says, Kazdan is the industry's Draco Malfoy. His credentials are what his father did, and nothing he touches works. I understood that reference. I've never seen a Harry Potter flick, but I understood that reference. But, yeah, Draco. Jonathan Kasdan just lives in his daddy's shadow. Why is it so hard? Okay, you know what? Max Landis is more accomplished than Jonathan Kasdan. I don't really think Max Landis is anywhere near the quality of his father in terms of creative mind. I mean, if you don't know who John Landis is, he directed the Thriller video, Animal House, American Werewolf in London, Trading Places, Coming to America, the Twilight Zone movie, Beverly Hills Cop 3, all kinds of stuff. And then, you know, depending on what you like of that list, with the exception of Beverly Hills Cop 3, I think I've listed great films. His son wrote Chronicle, and that was directed by Josh Trank, who his Boba Fett movie was shit canned the day of Comic-Con. But you had a legend, a master, and then you have his son come in, who is, you know, not as accomplished. Same thing with John Kasdan. He's not Lawrence Kasdan. He doesn't get the characters. I don't think he has the same life experiences, the appreciation for history, this, that, and the other. He grew up probably in Hollywood in a weird echo chamber, and these people have always had weird ideals and beliefs, and that's why these new movies don't resonate with as many people, because it's just off. There's something that doesn't hit us on the same emotional level. You know, the old Indiana Jones flicks did. Let's see, some of the parts that really resonated with me. One of my favorite parts is it's just a basic human part when Indiana Jones is about to kill Willie, and Short Round goes, "Indy, I love you," and he goes, "Wake up!" And then the thuggy guard's about to kill Short Round, and Indy goes, "Wait, he's mine." And he like winks at him. He says, "I'm okay." And then they just start kicking ass. Little moments like that. You can't have little fun human moments in movies anymore because these characters don't show that they care about each other. Because these people that make these movies don't care about other people. They're self-absorbed. They don't know how to give themselves emotionally to others or care about other people. There's weird, bizarre robots with a lot of fucking power. And I don't like that. You know, another Indiana Jones moment I love is like the truck chase. That's great. That's iconic. I love the fight scene in the airfield with the big German, the wrench guy, and he bladders everywhere. That's crazy too. Excuse me. Or the stuff with Indy's dad. You know, there are really great moments. But I don't foresee that because there's no humanity in Star Wars anymore. It's bad your mama jokes. Luke Skywalker's grumpy. And then so-and-so is wide-eyed and they think that's acting. No, you need somebody on set to like, you know, get your shit together, emote, do this, do that. You just need some of the old school infused into the new school because there's a reason that shit survived so long because it was so ahead of its time. For Indiana Jones to flourish today, it's going to take a lot. I mean, we live in a world with National Treasure, and those movies were more popular than Kingdom of Crystal Skull. We live in a world where Tomb Raider's come and gone. The old action adventure serial, we're so far beyond that now. So Indiana Jones has a lot to compete with. And, you know, pushing George Lucas out of the writer's room doesn't really help that. Just saying. I really feel like Spielberg should step up and help. Maybe that's I don't know him personally, but I gave you all this credit last night, Steven, during our Poltergeist commentary. Not commentary, but our Poltergeist discussion. You know, I knew he secretly directed it. Well, Spielberg, why don't you step up and defend your best buddy, George Lucas, and not worry about the twats over at Lucasfilm because you have more power than all of them combined. So stand up for your buddy. You know, push out the other people. Jeff the Iron Wolf, thank you very much for your super chat. Without ILM, no Star Trek movies. George Lucas started ILM. Yep, let's see. You know what? Hold on a minute. Let's look at all of the things that ILM films were. Let's look at the ILM films. Because it's cool to shit on Lucas, but let's look at all the things ILM has done, and we'll say if Lucas has attributed nothing to the way modern films are made. We'll just go out there. So this is the ILM Wikipedia page. ILM is an American motion picture visual company that was founded in May of 1975 by George Lucas. When Lucas began production on Star Wars. It's also original founder company of the animation studio Pixar. So there we go, right there. Now, let's look at some of the stuff they've worked on. So milestones. Let's see. They resurrected the use of VistaVision for motion control camera work in Star Wars. The first use of Go Motion to animate a Tauntaun creature in Empire Strikes Back. Willow, first digital compositing of full-screen live-action image during final sequence in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. First partially computer-generated main character, the T-1000 in Terminator 2. Jurassic Park. Some Jumanji, Dragonheart, The Mummy. Let's look at the films, though. I mean, look at this fucking list. And I'm not going to go and read, 150, 500. I don't know how many movies are on this list, but damn it, look at these. And look at the success. I would love to have 1% of all the movies that all the money that all these movies made. I'd be rich and jaded. But their first film was Star Wars, and they did Empire, Raiders, Wrath of Khan, E.T., Dark Crystal, Poltergeist, Return of the Jedi, Temple of Doom, another Star Trek film, Search for Spock, The Goonies, Back to the Future, the Money Pit. That required special effects. All right, I like that movie. Voyage Home, Golden Child, Witches of Eastwick, Spaceballs, Caddyshack 2, Cocoon, The Burbs, Last Crusade, Ghostbusters 2, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3, Total Recall, Die Hard 2. I'm just saying this list is just a who's who of films. What's what of film? I mean, all these films are big deals. We're talking the best of the best in terms of special effects. Jurassic Park, Last Action Hero, Schindler's List, Forrest Gump. I mean, Forrest Gump had some cool effects. All that stuff. But I guess, George Lucas being involved with this doesn't really matter, guys, because he made Star Wars prequels and they weren't that good, which is my own opinion. But George Lucas was shitty because Jar Jar Binks, so let's not let him near anything. So Randall, you douchebag writer, you don't know anything about history. These people that write these articles don't appreciate history, and that's a problem. I'm not saying you get a pass on your previous accomplishments because that's dangerous. But what I am saying is when you're proven to be one of the all-time great storytellers in the this industry, I feel like you're owed at least a modicum of respect, even after you sell off the shit. I'm sure Ian Fleming was consulted on some of the James Bond movies. Why not let Lucas have the same thing? So, okay. So a lot of people understand the importance of ILM, and they respect it. So I'm glad that everyone out there is with me on this one. It's not a lone cause, a lone crusade. You don't push George Lucas out. I'm not saying you got to make the guy the patron saint of Hollywood, but don't act like he's this kook that never had his finger on the pulse. Thank you very much. Respect the guy, respect the work. So many of these big motion picture special effects movies wouldn't exist had it not been for ILM. Just saying. So let's move on from the George Lucas news. I'm not ready to give up on George just yet. I feel like the dude may have one more good film left in him. Maybe he invests his money, makes a big return, buys back Lucasfilm. So that's a dream. Let me dream. Okay, time to wake up. We live in the nightmare. So let's talk about one thing that is exciting, because I have a couple more pieces of news. One that's good, and we'll start with good, then we'll go bad, and then we'll go interesting. So I know a lot of people out there are younger than me. Some people are older. Let's press 1 if you like this cartoon, Batman the Animated Series. I will wait. Let's see a tank tread roll up. And I'm so happy that you watched Beverly Hills Cop in my honor, because I watched it yesterday. Oh, so here's a late breaking story for you guys. I picked up my Halloween costume yesterday. I've decided that I'll be Axel Foley this year. So I pulled the trigger and I went and got the jacket and the shoes and the shirt and the zip-up hoodie if I want to be part 1, and a watch. I'm going to go get some old 80s style jeans. And I'm trying to decide if I want to get a fake peel-off mustache to go the whole thing. But I'm not going to shave off my sideburns because I just refuse to. But there we go. There's my Halloween stuff. Now, but back to this. Batman the Mask of the Phantasm returns to theaters in November. Now, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, I remember seeing commercials as a kid, seeing the toys as a kid, but I didn't see the movie until maybe 97, 98 for the first time, and I liked it a lot. I remember I dug out my Batman figure from the closet and pulled him out and played with him while I watched the movie. I've owned it on DVD. I now own it on Blu-ray, and thanks to our friend Scott from the UK, I will be owning it from, Steve, excuse me. I'll be owning it on Blu-ray again when it comes in the box set. But I'm excited to go check this out. Yeah, it's not going to be a big screening by any means necessary, but it'll be a nice way to celebrate a classic Batman flick. Some people say it's the best Bat flick, but down in the chat, tell me what you think the best Bat flick is and why you think it's the best Bat flick. Or what you think is the best Bat flick and why you think that choice is the best. I'm torn between Begins and 89, and then this is like right up there too. But one thing you can't say about many other Batman flicks besides this one, Mask of the Phantasm, and Batman Begins, other Batman movies aren't really Batman stories. They're stories of villains. They're stories of, Max Schreck and all these other characters. And Batman's just kind of there in the backdrop. He's the thing we all go pay to see, but he's not the focal point. In this film and Batman Begins, he is the focal point, and I enjoy that a lot. Bruce Wayne, you can tell a good Bruce Wayne story quite easily. And this may be one of the best Bruce Wayne stories ever put to film. I'll say it's the best because it deals with his love, his loss, Andrea Beaumont, the parents, all that stuff. She comes back into his life. So if you guys haven't seen this movie, do it. It's not too expensive on Blu-ray. It's like $3 on DVD. It might be still on Amazon Prime streaming, and I strongly suggest you check it out. it gets my double thumbs up of approval. But it is coming back out in November, November 12th, nearly 25 years after its premiere. So I may go see that, depending on what day of the week November the 12th is. What day is that? November the 12th is a Monday. I might go see it. I don't do any streams here on the channel on Mondays normally. That'll be after our Veterans Day celebration that weekend. So, yeah, I might go check it out. That could be a lot of fun. Superman's also coming back for its 40th anniversary, which I got, again, nothing but respect for the old Donner cut of Superman. When Superman was a hero, an icon, not a frowny, dark suit wearing, angry British man. We needed bright, fun Christopher Reeve. Could use a little more of that right now. Just saying, Hollywood's in a bad place. Let's look to the sky. Maybe Superman will save us. Maybe he won't. Maybe he's like Rorschach. I'll look down and I'll say, no. Can't blame him, though. That's a pretty shit time. Mr. V, thank you very much for your super chat. Hey, Jeff, working and lurking here. My man, working and lurking. So let's see what people are saying. We're getting a lot of Batman 89 love right now. Let's see. Yeah, Batman 89 is still my favorite. Batman 89 again. Young Justice Batman is best Batman to me. Favorite Batman animated movie is Batman Dark Knight Returns. That is a fantastic choice. I enjoy that one quite a bit. I own the Blu-ray, the double one that's both parts 1 and 2 together. I don't like when they break them up. I mean, you had to wait, 6 months or a year or something to get part 2? Now, when you watch that all in one sitting, it's one of the most powerful Batman stories ever. My favorite Batman movie is one that shows his dick. We haven't adapted that one yet, but I have it on good authority that it'll be out this Christmas. Actually, no. I'm sorry. My sources were wrong. They're actually reanimating it into this movie, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Batman Dong of the Phantasm. So that's coming at you this Christmas, Bat Dong, the animated series. Da-da-da-da-da. Don't take your kids. Don't take your wife. Don't take yourself. You don't want to see it. People are loving the Batmobile from '89 as well. Yes, I too love that Batmobile. I own many, many models. I own original stuff from Ertl that came out back in the day. I got a new, I don't know what is this, 1/24th scale that came with a little mini Batman. I got Hot Wheels ones. That's one of those iconic movie cars. We'll talk about iconic movie cars relatively soon because it'd be fun. But up there on that list would be the Aston Martin DB5, the DeLorean Time Machine, this Batmobile, the Ecto one. If we're going to do TV as well, we'll have Knight Rider, Kit, Magnum PI's Ferrari is pretty iconic, as well as Crockett's Ferrari, his Testarossa, or his Daytona Spider. There's a lot of great fictional cars, TV and movie alike, and everyone's got a different favorite. But I'd be interested to vote and discuss that here on the channel. Hide your kids, hide your wife. I'm a sucker for the Adam West Batmobile, says Holdo's Muff. That is a fantastic car. I think was it George Barris that created it. He also worked on the Munstermobile. The old Adam West Batmobile is awesome. I'm not here to dump on it. That's one thing you're not going to hear me do on this channel is dump on the old Adam West series. It was what it was. Camp was appreciated and accepted back then, and it was a campy show. And certain things age better than other things, but there are some funny moments. And let's admit, Julie Newmar is still one of the best looking women's ever. Eartha Kitt's cool. Lee Merriweather was in the movie, but Adam West was a great Batman. He had one of the, I'd say he has the second best Batman voice after Kevin Conroy. I just love Adam West's voice. Such a cool voice. I had an opportunity to meet him at a comic convention. I chose not to, so that was on me. But yeah, the car's cool. Batcopter's okay. Batboat's all right. But I do have nothing but love for that show. Nick considers that his favorite Batman thing ever. His favorite Batman adaptation ever. So let's see. Unpopular opinion: Arkham Knight Batmobile is my favorite Batmobile. Well, Ghost Legend. I have like a whole bunch of these Hot Wheels. I should send you one. By the way, speaking of sending, I'll make sure I get the P.O. box fixed up this coming week. So the week of the 8th of October, I will get our P.O. box logistics worked out, and then I'll start publishing that on our YouTube channel videos as well as our Facebook page, and you guys can mail us stuff. I mean, we'll keep it open as long as people send stuff that's not, crazy. Like if anybody sends like a finger, I'm gonna stop it instantly. I'll find out who sent it, and we'll send it back to you with a little note. Said Bunny Lebowski doesn't live here anymore. Well, yes, the Batman 66 show did bring in a wide audience, and I respect that. But it's sad, too, that audience really did leave Batman right after the show ended, because there was a talk, was it 1966 to 68? So in 1969, I believe there was talk of canceling Batman the book because the sales tanked so hard. Thankfully, Neil Adams and Danny O'Neill got involved. They really resurrected the dark, mysterious Batman into the character that we know today. And then Batman had a strong 70s, an amazing 80s, an okay 90s, and a really good 2000s so far, until his dong popped out and the whole thing just, there you go. Ghost Legend says, send it with my copy of Stealing Solo. I might be able to do that. I don't know your real name, so you have to just message me later and remind me when the books go out. So you have to remind me. It's October. It's a little early for me to be thinking about shipping those books out. I didn't realize the Detective Comics are still good to this day. I'll have to check it out. I stopped reading Batman. I haven't read many comics as of late. I'm just not into them right now. Bat Dad from YouTube is the best. I think he watches this show. Well, then there's another different dad that watches this show. Channel Dad Brian Lave. He's the best. So I talked to the other guys last night about everyone that's ever appeared on the show appearing on an episode, and they're all down. So be prepared for that. We're going to pre-record that and get that available to some people as soon as we can figure out the logistics behind it. And then also on top of that, be on the lookout for a 75,000 subscriber special, because you guys deserve it. We want to thank you, give you some extra content to consume. We want you to ask us questions, anything you want. Sire J. Longstroke says, hey, I want to send you a 6-pack of my favorite beer. Okay, beer, cool. I love beer. So just be on the lookout for the address, the P.O. Box number, and we'll be... We'll test out your beer. I'll open all these things on camera. And just be a fun little addition to this channel. That way you guys can get involved. And then when I do thankfully get out of this neighborhood, I can set up a little shrine in the office of things that the fans, the listeners have sent in. And, make it part of the set. Make it fun. So speaking of fun, Spider-Man is not fun anymore. But this news piqued my interest. Now, if only this would lead to further events in the Spider-Verse, I could be excited once again for Spider-Man. Now, check this out. Into the Spider-Verse's Peter Parker is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I want to be really pumped for this, because you guys know how I feel about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I'm like, oh, yes! But then you realize it's not his voice. Spider-Man is voiced by Jake Johnson. Right? Is that who voices him? Yeah, Jake Johnson. I like how he's called New Girl's Jake Johnson, not 21 Jump Street's Jake Johnson, or Let's Be Cops Jake Johnson. Let's Be Cops Jake Johnson, because I like that movie quite a bit. I know it's an unpopular film to enjoy, but Dan and I went to see it. I think I've seen Let's Be Cops about 3 or 4 times, and it makes me laugh. It's like a shit version of End of Watch. End of Watch is a fantastic film. Let's Be Cops is the stupid equivalent, but it's fun. It's a movie I'd like to watch when I'm drinking with Dion and not really have to pay attention to the film. So into the verse, Spider-Verse's Peter Parker is Tobey Maguire. The latest trailer for Sony's upcoming Spider-Verse is packed with characters, references, and moments that will have comic book fans more excited than ever for the release of this movie. Those fans who only know Spider-Man from his films, however, have a bunch of tantalizing Easter eggs that lead us to believe that this version of Spidey we'll be seeing is one who's no stranger to the big screen. We've known now for a while that the version of Peter Parker we'll be seeing in Into the Spider-Verse is older than any we've seen in the movie so far, and far older than we tend to see in the comics as well. Not true. Spider-Man in the comic books was in his 20s, maybe just older 20s for a good chunk of it. He did get married and, attempt to have a kid with Mary Jane. I love how these people that, comic book resources don't have the resources to research how old he was. Just putting it out there. Sorry. He's got stubble, a slightly jaded look across his eyes. Most importantly, he takes Miles Morales, the star of the film, under his wing. This mentorship role for Spider-Man is rarely explored in the comic books, but totally fits with the character. It also makes sense that he would be older in this case, so he can impart his wisdom upon a teenage Miles, who is obviously relatively new to the superhero lifestyle. This new trailer wastes no time recapping Peter Parker's life, so we can get to the real star of the show, Miles. My name is Peter Parker, voiced by Jake Johnson, tells us, I'm pretty sure you know the rest. This is a smart approach to Spidey's origin because we already know the history of the web-slinging hero. We've seen it multiple times in the movies alone, which is why Spider-Man Homecoming did away with it entirely. What we see in the latest trailer, however, is what we know specific to Spider-Man's origins vary indeed because they are basically Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man from director Sam Raimi's original trilogy. I don't remember him fighting a giant green monster, saving a bus. That's the Lizard. So he never fought the Lizard. The Doc Ock tentacles don't look like... Okay, let's see. How do we know it, though? Okay, so he does stop the train. Okay, so Raimi's trilogy, which ran from 2002 to 2007, saw Tobey Maguire take on the role of Peter Parker as the young hero battled Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Sandman, and more. Despite the series' decline in quality, man, the last one was not good. I agree. They're still highly regarded as fun, memorable entries in the Spider-Man franchises, the best, the first two. They're also filled with iconic moments, which is why Into Spider-Verse has chosen to use this version of Spider-Man as the basis for its main Peter Parker. Plus, Sony owns it. As Spider-Man recounts in the trailer, I saved the city, then I fell in love, then I saved the city again and again and again. As this weary hero gives us his extremely brief recap of his life, we see flashes of moments he's been describing, and they're almost all scenes we've seen before. We see Spider-Man stopping a speeding train, facing his body ahead of the engine, as using his webs. We also see an upside-down kiss with Mary Jane, perhaps the single most famous moment from the Maguire era. We also see a car flying through a restaurant window towards Peter and Mary Jane, and we later see familiar mechanical arms of Dr. Octopus surrounding Spidey, all which are moments from Raimi's movie. Okay, maybe it's more. And the suit, too, has the texture right here. So that's cool, I guess. I mean, it's not like he should be Peter Parker here or anything. It's funny, too. You'd think a guy like me who really likes the Tobey Maguire era of Spider-Man, as well as the lineage of Spider-Man, would be really excited for this, but I'm not going to go see it because fuck Sony. That's why. Speaking of fucking Sony, let's take a look at the Venom score together because let's see. Yesterday, what was it? 26%. Venom, Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, the Venom Rotten Tomatoes score. Here we go. Oh, okay. Well, it went up, guys. It went up. I guess we can no longer discuss the failure of Venom critically because it's gone up from a 26% to a 29%. So it's still rotten as shit. So it's got some show times in my neck of the woods. Woo! I'm not going. I got the podcast to do tonight. But we got more reviews. So let's see. Oh, God. The New York Post has a really funny one. Venom, more like cyanide. Rolling Stone, because they're a reputable source for everything. Even the great Tom Hardy is defeated by his tone-deaf Marvel botch job, which delivers a puddle of simplistic, sanitized PG-13 drivel instead of the scary, dark Night of the Soul Thunderbolt fans have every right to expect. Night of the Soul. Never heard of the Dark Night of the Soul. Oh, well. So we've read some of these yesterday. Oh, here's a new one from October the 4th. The action is solid and the character well realized. So why doesn't Venom work as it should? It's all down to balance. That comes from Radio Times. And then theshiznit.co.uk, because I personally put all of my stock in a website called The Shiznit. The movie clings to the most basic of superhero plotting, the most egregious of comic book cliches, and the most underwritten of villainous motives. ABC Radio, Australia, said the sad truth is that Venom feels like the shameless cash-in many feared it would be. Ooh. Eesh. So it has gone up, but not by much. So I don't know what it's going to do at the box office. I know it's predicted to still break October records. But me personally, I'm probably not going to go. I know Nick wants to go see it, and Dion will. But after they kind of dropped the ball with The Predator, and telling me it was good, go see it, I'm so glad I didn't. I can't buy into that dumb shit. Thank you, Mahler. Again, man, you saved me $20. If I ever meet you, I'm buying you drinks are on me that evening. Let's see. Brandon Moist into the super chat. Thank you, Brandon Moist. He says, Venom pre-review, not moist. It's not moist. If the symbiote is not moist, it's just Sandman. Ugh, I hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. Mask of the Phantom is just Dick Tracy spoiled. Yeah, well, Madonna's thankfully not in that one as well. I don't know if Jango Fett is no longer a Mandalorian. I haven't heard that. It's news to me if they kick him out of the tribe or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's news to me if Jango no longer... I mean, he's dead, so of course he's no longer a Mandalorian. He's gone. But I don't think you can just write him out of not being a Mandalorian anymore. Yes, everyone, his moistness is in the chat right now. So let's pay our respects to the one, the only, Brandon Moist, the only listener to have an episode named after him. Now, I don't say that to make you feel bad about yourself. I say that to throw down the challenge. Can you hijack a show so funny like Brandon Moist did? I mean, seriously, I had a headache when Brandon Moist started doing the movie titles with Moist. It was one of the funniest things ever. And, you know, it followed over for a couple episodes. So tonight, can you guys come up with something that captures our attention the way the Moist did? I'm hoping. Dion does like the new Predator. Dion is very lenient on nostalgia films. Me, I just won't see them if they look dumb. I don't have the love of Predator like those two guys do. I don't like Predator 2. Don't like AVP 1 or 2. I don't like Predators. I've never seen that one. I'm an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. Predator is his best movie, in my opinion. And without him, there is no Predator film. So what was that challenge? Well, Brandon Moist started doing Moist movie titles and all this other Moist shenanigans. And he made us laugh. And we had a great, fantastic time. You know, we would do like Batman, The Moist Awakens, or Moist Rises and shit like that. The Dark Moist Arises, stuff like that. It was just fun. It was a great time. So if anyone can ever do that, top that again, I will name an episode after you. Yeah, Star is Born has a much better rating. Lady Gaga is more famous than Venom. Well, she kind of always has been. I know Venom's a fictional character, but even though I don't like Lady Gaga, she was everywhere for like a decade. Venom, you know, he was popular in the late 80s, early 90s, fizzled out. Spider-Man 3 fizzled out, and now we're here. Plus, Marvel doesn't know what the hell they're doing with the character. It's Eddie Brock. It's Venom's character, which that's Herman Schultz is the Shocker. Oh, Matt Gargan. You know, there's 1,000,001 Venoms now. It's getting stupid. So Boondock Saints got a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that tells me Venom is worth a shot. Well, it's funny that you guys are bringing up bad movie scores and stuff that are worth a shot, because I actually had an article pulled up for this morning because, you know, it's Halloween. I was in the spirit of it. I wanted to pull up some bad movies, some horror movies, this, that, and the other. But then I came across this article that was published the other day from Business Insider, and it may have just taken the cake for the most I've laughed at an article in a while. It's not overtly funny, like, haha, it was meant to be, but the content makes me laugh. So the 19 movies that audience have hated the most in the past 32 years. Now, the title alone makes me chuckle, if you can't tell, because bad movies are bad movies. And sometimes you have audiences that hate a movie and critics love it, like The Last Jedi. But unlike The Last Jedi, people aren't being blamed for being Russian bots. They're not being accused of being Russian bots. They're not being called sexist and misogynist and all these terrible things because they didn't like these movies. These movies are treated like movies, and there's not a bigger agenda at play with Disney and Lucasfilm. So let's have a good laugh at some of this stuff. So Mother, Rotten Tomatoes score, critic score 69%. The Academy Award winner Jennifer Lawrence plays a wife obsessed with renovating her isolated house, who has her world turned upside down when her husband, Javier Bardem Morgan, invites strangers to stay inside the home. Mother received mixed reviews since it opened, but became CinemaScore's latest F-rated film. I had no interest in seeing this, okay? I don't like artsy-fartsy pictures. That is for Dustin to enjoy. But I had never heard a good thing outside of him, who ironically made it his top film of the year. So that's talk about a big disconnect. Then we had The Darkness. Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 3. A family awakens an evil supernatural presence while on vacation at the Grand Canyon and their lives turn upside down. You know, when I think of Grand Canyon, I think of horror. Could you imagine someone's out on vacation and thinking, what have we not done? Well, there's never been a horror flick about the Grand Canyon now, has there? And then, you know, their level-headed passenger goes, there's a reason for that, Bob. There's a reason for that. It's the Grand Canyon. But Bob said, no, I will make a horror film about the Grand Canyon. And it'll sell millions and millions of tickets. And everyone's going to love it. And then Bob made The Darkness. And it sits at a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Devil Inside. Rotten Tomatoes score, 6. After her mother murders 3 people following an exorcism, a young woman investigates numerous exorcisms that were performed without permission. I hated this movie. I saw this on Netflix years ago. Terrible trash. Brad Pitt, Killing Them Softly, also from 2012. Rotten Tomatoes score 74%, but it was a total flop based on the cinema score. And it had a great cast too. James Gandolfini and Ray Liotta. Silent House, so Scarlet Witch made this movie. Rotten Tomatoes score 43%, blah, blah, blah. The Box. Now, I wanted to see this movie, but I forgot about it. That's the biggest crime of a film, in my opinion. I'm interested, and then I forget to go see it. Because like all of you, I see these trailers when they drop. I don't get to see early access. I'm not Grace Randolph. I don't get, you know, the insider scoop. But what I do get is bombarded with trailers that suck. And now this trailer didn't really entice me beyond, hey, I might watch that, but I completely forgot about The Box. So these other films are The Box. Cameron Diaz and James Marsden stars a couple who have been given a box containing a button. If they push it, they get $1 million. But pushing the button causes someone to die. I would take that chance. The Disaster Movie, terrible. Saw it 1% on Rotten Tomatoes. And Kim Kardashian's in the movie. I Know Who Killed Me, 7%. Wasn't ever going to watch it. I don't like Lindsay Lohan. Bug from 2006. I don't know if I would ever watch it. The Wicker Man. Okay, we love Nicolas Cage. We're going to be talking about him tonight at great length on the podcast. How to get burned. How to get burned. If you guys ever need a fun way to spend your afternoon, like our friend Jose, I believe, it's his birthday. He's at home doing nothing. He's at home washing his tights. Do yourself a favor, man, and go watch Nicolas Cage Wicker Man quotes. What do you got in there? A shark or something? It's dumb, but it's a fantastically dumb movie. Alone in the Dark, Uwe Boll, based on a video game with a score of 1%. Wolf Creek, 52%. And In the Cut with our friend The Incredible Hulk, 34%. Fear.com, don't remember it. Solaris, don't remember it. Dr. T and the Women, I remember it. Lost Souls, don't remember it. Lucky Numbers, guess it wasn't that lucky. Eye of the Beholder. So when Ewan McGregor was done doing Star Wars, he did Eye of the Beholder. Talk about a dip in quality. But I just wanted to read that these are some of the most hated movies according to audiences. Now, if these websites had any integrity, they would talk about, The Last Jedi, because it got shit on. But no, they can't go against the narrative proposed by Disney and the West Coast douchebags. The Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much for Super Chat. Of all the other Predator films, Predators is the best. The one I haven't seen, Grand Inquisitor. So you're trying to make me go see this movie. Not the new one. I get what you're saying. But was it 2009 one with Topher Grace? If Dion owns it, I guess I'll watch it because the Grand Inquisitor said so. I didn't buy your action figure at the store, so I feel apologetic towards you, man. So Laura Ryan fanfiction stole my story. Excuse me. Laura Ryan stole my fanfiction story says, according to Pablo Hidalgo, Django is not Mandalorian. Well, let me go back and watch episode 2 now, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. But I've always thought maybe he just had the armor. I don't know. Boba Fett was supposedly at one point in time a Mandalorian. So Jango Fett Mandalorian. Let's go to his Wikipedia page. So Jango Fett, human male bounty hunter who wore a set of Mandalorian armor during his time as a bounty hunter. The government of Mandalore regarded him as a renegade and pretender. Okay, recruited by the Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus, Fett was relocated to a remote planet of Kamino, where he served as a genetic template for the clones, blah, 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 unlike Fett. Anyway, so yeah, he's dead, and I guess he wasn't. He was just he was a faker, a big fat phony. So there we are. I guess if it comes from Wikipedia, I have to trust it. The Pui sent in a super chat says, "How you doing, Jeff? Oh, and how's your mom? She's fine. She's doing good. She's doing good. Nothing new to report. We had pizza for dinner, so that's about the most exciting thing that happened in our household besides last night's live stream about movie curses, which actually was a lot of fun. Seriously, guys, if you have a chance to this afternoon, if you're looking for some entertainment, watch that. It really was a lot of fun. I thought enjoyed making it a lot." My rendition of making what? Of Making the Darkness sounds a lot like Ryan the Boatmaker. Oh, I love Ryan the Boatmaker. Does everyone know what Ryan the Boatmaker is? Because if enough people stick around in the next 5 minutes, I'll pull it up. So press 1 if you want me to reread Ryan the Boatmaker, because I will. It'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. They retcon Django. Let's see. Ruin the Boatmaker. We're getting some ones. If I see that tank tread roll in, I'll do it. Okay, holy shit, there's that tank tread. All right, well, give me a moment. Let me pull this up for you guys, because Ryan the Boatmaker, I still want to do the video. I got the approval from Subversive Jake. So Ryan the Boat. I meant to type in Ryan the Boatmaker. So here we go. Subversive Jake on Twitter. Ryan the Boatmaker. This may be the best story ever. It only takes a minute to read. It may be the saddest story ever told. Once upon a time, a boatmaker named Ryan was tasked to build a mighty boat. Ryan had made boats before, but this boat was being commissioned by one of the largest boat corporations in the world. It was going to be the biggest and grandest boat he ever made. Ryan quickly got to work on the plans for his incredible boat. Within a few hours, his first draft was complete. "This is perfect," Ryan exclaimed. "This is perfect," agreed Kathleen, head of a large boat corporation Ryan was working for. Ryan's first draft was approved. A huge crew assembled to construct Ryan's boat. Ryan enjoyed the construction process as the crew did whatever he told them to do, and everyone worked hard to make his vision a reality. "It's going to be a work of subversive genius," Ryan said Kathleen. "I know," said Ryan. Ryan was certain that this boat would be universally admired, groundbreaking, a masterpiece, and all of his friends and coworkers agreed. With one exception. A troublesome subordinate called Mark, who wouldn't stop talking about his fundamental disagreement with the project. Mark had been involved with the boat corporation for decades and was instrumental in the success of the most popular boat overseen by a highly skilled and innovative boatmaker called George. Ryan did not have any involvement in these previous successes. "Shut up, Mark," Ryan said to his troublesome subordinate. "I'm sorry," Ryan said, Mark, "but I've worked on boats like this many times before, and there are fundamental problems with your design." Ryan thought this over for a moment before responding. "Shut up, Mark," said Ryan. After many months of hard work and construction on Ryan's boat, it was complete. Many of Ryan's friends were invited to the grand unveiling, and they were all assured Ryan that it was the best boat of its kind ever to be made. Ryan earnestly agreed. Everyone is going to love it, he said. The time finally arrived for the boat to set sail. As was customary, only the industry's most revered and respected boat critics were invited on board for the first few voyages. The critics wrote nothing but glowing reviews for Ryan's boat, exactly as they had been paid to do. The positive reviews, along with the boat's corporation, held a world-renowned reputation for anticipation set for Ryan's boat to a fever pitch as the public were finally granted access. Ryan eagerly awaited the praise he felt he deserved, but soon became clear that something was wrong. The boat is extremely unsteady and it's making me feel sick, said one passenger. This boat isn't sailing in the right direction, said another. This boat has got holes in it, exclaimed another. This boat sucks, cried out another, and half of the passengers agreed. The boat industry had never witnessed anything like it. At least half of the passengers complained bitterly about the quality and integrity of Ryan's boat. The remaining passengers fiercely defended it as great, a subversive work of art. It was the most divisive boat in history. Although inwardly incensed by a wave of criticism, Ryan calmly defended his creation. The goal was never to divide or make people upset, he said, but these conversations were going to happen at some point for the boat industry to grow and move forward and stay vital. The best way for the boat industry to grow, move forward, and stay vital is to make strong boats that stay afloat, retorted the passengers, as holes in Ryan's boat caused it to slowly fill with water. I can explain why this isn't going to be a problem, said Ryan. This boat is not sinking. Ryan spent considerable time explaining why the holes in his boat were not a problem. When that didn't work, Ryan's friends Pablo and Brian further explained why the holes were not a problem. When that didn't work, Ryan's friend JJ said the passengers were threatened by women. We have a problem with this boat because there are holes in it, said the passengers. You're all clearly threatened by women, said JJ. What's your problem with women, asked Pablo. You're a hive of alt-right scum and villainy, said Brian. Man babies, said Ryan. The more the passengers complained about the structural flaws in Ryan's boat, the more Ryan and his friends insulted and belittled them. Rest assured that most of these sinking dweebs are shouting out into the void, said Ryan. Look at my passengers' tear mugs, mocked Brian. The most confusing of all, the other passengers who insisted that Ryan's boat was the greatest boat of all time. Let your hatred of Ryan's boat die, they said. Kill it if you have to. But what about all the holes? This boat is going to sink. We can't see any holes. Ryan's boat has made millions of dollars, so it must be great, said the pro-Ryan passengers. But we paid to sail on this boat before we knew it had holes in it, said the anti-Ryan passengers. We will never again sail on a boat made by this corporation, they added. A few months later, Kathleen's Boat Corporation made another huge boat, this one overseen by a different boat maker called Ron. Many passengers refused to sail on Ron's boat because of the holes in Ryan's boat and because Ryan and his friends had mocked and insulted them. Ron asked passengers to give his boat a try, and even they refused. He didn't insult them. Many suspected that Ron's boat had less structural problems than Ryan's, but a point needed to be made, and Ron's boat was the corporation's first ever financial disaster. What financial disaster, said Ryan when passengers pointed out his faulty boat had caused the financial disaster. It was nothing to do with Ryan's boat, said Ryan's friends. It's because of new boats from rival boat corporations and because of boat fatigue. By now, at least half of the passengers had lost their faith in the boat corporation. Kathleen was fired. Ryan's future projects were canceled. The corporation's next huge boat, overseen by JJ, was another financial disaster. They only had themselves to blame. The end. If only that were the case. Subversive Jake, we need you, my friend. We need you to make another sequel to Ryan the Boatmaker to talk about where we are right now. You know, save me, Subversive Jake. You're my only hope. You know, Richard, I would really be willing to do the art and all that and help and write Ryan the Boatmaker Part 2, but that's a Subversive Jake story, and I would never go ahead without his permission or do anything without his approval. So if you guys want to tweet at Subversive Jake and say, tag us in the tweet and say, we need you to make a Part 2 to Ryan the Boatmaker or to continue on the story and we want to help, do that. You can tag us in it. I fully stand behind the message. But I don't want to, steal Jake's thunder, and I also don't draw like Subversive Jake, so I want it to look just like this because it's funnier that way. I will do the video for sure. The reason I'm waiting is because I want Doomcock and Anna and all the people that are involved with the Fandom Menace channels to get involved and help make it. Yes, the boat did look like Thomas the Tank Engine, and that's what made me laugh. It almost reminded me of Morty from Rick and Morty too. I love this story. It makes me feel good inside. It's not the coffee that's keeping me warm this morning. It's also not the 80-degree weather outside. It's Ryan the Boatmaker by Subversive Jake. Ooh, then an aspiring boatmaker named Ivan fixes Ryan's boats. I like that. That would be a lot of fun. We just need to make that happen, guys. We need to reach out to Subversive Jake, see what he's up to these days, and ask him if he wants to make part 2. Because we will help him any way we possibly can. Ryan's submarine would never sink. Are you telling me this sucker's nuclear? No. Keep rolling. This sucker's electrical, but I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity I need. What the hell is a gigawatt? I'm sorry. I love Back to the Future so much. The Bots Awaken. I like that one. I like that one right there. You guys got a lot of good names for these movies. But yeah, today's episode is not over. Don't worry. I'm not closing this thing out. But today's episode has been really good. I've been happy with all the content we've covered. This whole week has had a bunch of news to talk about. We covered Venom. We talked about horror stuff, Batman, Bat Dong again, Star Wars, all of it. Good morning, pop culture. It's maybe my favorite week we've ever had. You guys can let me know about your opinions later on in the week, because we still got tomorrow's show and tonight's show, World Class Bullshitters, episode 142, I believe, or maybe it's 143. Shit. All I can tell you is that's going to be off the hook. We got tons of stuff. We're going to be talking about Nicolas Cage's Lex Luthor. Dion and the gang are going to chime in on Kathleen Kennedy, as well as the Russian bots and all this other crap. So if you want the funniest take on all this Star Wars news, all this entertainment news, make sure you listen to tonight's podcast, because when they try to defend this Venom movie, I'm going to rip it apart, and them as well. Oh, you missed the Jon Favreau Star Wars section. Somebody was late to class. Oh, well. So, Gerhardt, you're a good dude. Mandalorian is the name of Jon Favreau's new Star Wars television series. After the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travails of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. So there we go. So Mareth Dealine said a super chat that said, hello, Jeff. What did I miss? Well, you missed a really informative show, but how's your eye, man? I'm pulling for you. I know that's kind of a scary thing to have issues with, so let me know how you are. But yeah, we talked about Jon Favreau's Star Wars TV show. We talked about Into the Spider-Verse, Batman, Bat Dong, all kinds of stuff this morning. We also talked about George Lucas and how his legacy is trying to be tarnished by a bunch of self-righteous assholes that have never created anything on their own. They just take their father's legacy and continue to run with it. So he says it sounds like Cad Bane. Maybe. I don't know what the obsession with Mandalore is. I think you can really blame the fans on that one. I don't think the obsession comes from them. They know that people buy this shit. So looking from a consumer base, if every time you put out Mandalorian stuff, people eat it up left and right, well then, as consumers, you give the people what they want. That's why we're going back to Mandalore, and that's why we're having all that stuff. Oh my God, Nicolas Cage, so much. Maybe I got excited if I hadn't seen Before the Emergence of the First Order. All I know is that I don't have to see cucked out Hux. Maybe we'll see his daddy. And we won't have to see Kylo Ren Ben, because he won't be born yet. Hopefully. He'll be a baby. Baby Ben Solo. And there's a timeline where Marty McFly and Doc accidentally run him over and kill him. Trencher 1375, thank you very much. Mandalorians are a Spartan ripoff. Well, as a former Spartan myself, of the Michigan State persuasion, I see where you're coming from. So, Mandalorians are space Spartans. So, Spartans. If you follow the joke on the channel. But I've never read into the expanded universe Mandalorian stories. I don't follow those. I don't care. I don't dislike them. I'm used to Boba Fett being a Mandalorian or whatever the old history was. He's not really a man underneath there. He's some creature, some shit. There are all kinds of different official Boba Fett things, and they kept changing over time. So I don't like Boba Fett being voiced by Tamara Morrison. I prefer the Jason Wingren voice. And if you've never heard it, it's better. You may not want to listen to it because you won't like Tamara Morrison anymore. Now, again, we have to wait and see this Jon Favreau stuff before we jump down the guy's throat. Now, I understand it's Disney Star Wars. Believe me, this channel knows how Disney Star Wars operates. We're not going to all of a sudden change our tune. We haven't been paid the $500 million we require to sell out. So, Kathleen, $500 million in cash, you pay the taxes, we'll be good to go. It ain't happening, so don't worry. But Jon Favreau does have me, I have a little bit of hope for Jon Favreau's work because Jon Favreau has done good stuff in the past. I don't have a reason not to be excited for his work. I mean, give me a moment. I'm going to pull up Jon Favreau's filmography, and we're going to see what Jon Favreau's done. And then you can talk about, tell me what you think about his work overall. So Jon Favreau, I'll give his Wikipedia a poll. So he was the executive producer on the Avengers and Ultron. Oh, I didn't realize that. Jon Favreau's cool. He's the man. High five to Jon Favreau. Unless you fucked this up, then you fucked it up. So Jon Favreau, what has he worked on? Jon Favreau's had a lot of stuff. So he has directed, made, Elf, Zathura, A Space Adventure, Iron Man's 1 and 2, Cowboy and Aliens, Chef, The Jungle Book, and The Lion King. So he has done a lot of Disney stuff. Well, to be fair, he only directed 3 Disney things, but overall, he's cool with the Disney camp. Now, a lot of people love Elf. Elf's fine. I don't love it the way other people do, but it's top 15 Christmas movies. I can enjoy it. But he's acting in tons of stuff too. Maybe we'll see Vince Vaughn pop up in the new Star Wars series. Could you imagine that? He puts a little bit of maple syrup in his hair, and that's how he gets his day started. But Jon Favreau, just, don't disappoint us. I don't think we can handle that. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, there are a handful of people out there, a handful of creators that can right the boat that Ryan has punched holes in. Now, Ryan's boat has sunk, but the yacht, the aircraft carrier that held Ryan's boat before they, pushed it out to sea, because that analogy works. I've seen G.I. Joe. I know they fight the Autobots on whatever Prime, Cybertron. No, but the bigger Disney boat that holds all the Star Wars information does have some rust on the hull, and that's to be worried about as well. And maybe Favreau can go over there and clean it up and slap a new coat of paint on it, and it looks brighter than ever. Or he messes up, he gets infused with this garbage rhetoric from Kathleen Kennedy and her jabroni cronies, and we're stuck with more shit. So we'll never know until we watch this. And if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to give it your money. You don't feel obligated. I feel a little obligated so I can review it for you guys. If you want me to review it so you don't have to, press 1. If I see a tank tread pop up in the next 7 to 10 seconds, I'll do it. Only for you guys. I don't want to. But again, I did the DC streaming service to review it, and I reviewed it, and it sucks. I wish I could get my money back. 5, 4, 3, 2. We're not seeing many tank treads, so it looks like it won't happen. Oh, I heard tank tread. That was a slow response. I guess we'll talk the closer we get. We'll talk the closer we get. But yeah, Favreau, he is our last hope. If he can't do it, well, no one can. Or should. Let Star Wars die. All of it. Disney, you shouldn't have bought it. I like how people are freaking. That takes longer to type. Man, you know how fast you can type in one? Boom, I just did it. Before I even finished my sentence. I'm just messing with you guys. I know the lag's not your fault. You think I'm angry? Hell no. I'm happy to be doing this. So we'll talk closer we get. We'll find out. We have to find out more about the streaming service. Remember, we're going to be at Star Wars Celebration where they're going to sell it to us. Guys, the Disney Star Wars streaming service. What? It's going to be $5. What? Kathleen Kennedy's got a special fireside chat. What? Why? You know, just shit like that. Man, there's a lot of anger towards episode 9 and the boycott. Like I said, from an official standpoint, I can't call for a boycott, but I can hope that the movie flops to send a message. I can't use this channel as a platform for it, but I can say my own personal hope that it doesn't make a bunch of money. I don't really want it to. If I had the power to control any outcome, like every outcome I wanted, and I had more than just like 3 wishes, it was just a superpower of mine, I would make the episode 9 movie make $7. One person went to see it in Idaho on a Tuesday afternoon, and the rest of the world didn't. Could you imagine how embarrassing that would be for Lucasfilm? Let's just live in that world for a moment. I know $7 is a stupid low amount. Let's say the movie makes $7 million, and that's it. A Star Wars movie pulls in $7 million. Now I know nostalgia and those stupid people that are like, I gotta see it in theaters. I saw every one. My dad took me. He's no longer. I'm like, I don't care about your story. Okay, this movie has done so much damage to the Star Wars brand. So let's say it makes $7 million. Could you imagine how great the next Monday would be? I would do a live stream all day. Like, all right, the results are in, folks. $7 million for the opening weekend of Star Wars Episode 9. The High Council would make more in Super Chats than that if that movie flopped that hard. I mean, could you imagine the world where Star Wars was just... Like, Solo lost a lot of money, but it also made in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Imagine it making 7 figures. Oh, my God. That would be embarrassing and hilarious. I would just love for that to be the case, but we'll never know until next year. We got, what, a year, 2 months, and 15 days until Star Wars Episode 9 comes out. So enjoy your sanity until then. Well, excuse me, 16 days. It comes out on the 20th. Looks like some of the results for Titans are positive right now. Well, I have access to the DC streaming service. I don't know when Titans is actually coming out. So when it does, let's see, Titans 2018. Okay, an American web television series. Oh, I guess it comes out on the the next week on the 12th. Right? Yeah, October the 12th. So we got 8 days until it comes out. 8 days of sanity. Well, while I don't have all that great expectations for episode 9, if it turns out to be a masterpiece, people not going to watch it out of spite would be petty, don't you think? No, I don't think it'd be petty out of spite, because how can you trust the critics? They lied to us. They were taking the blame, Russian bots, this, that, and the other thing. They don't deserve whatever happens. From my point of view, if the movie won't be a masterpiece, because there are certain things you have to do with a Star Wars flick. Like, to me, the last masterpiece Star Wars film was Empire Strikes Back. The first one and Empire are the masterpieces. Return of the Jedi is a very good film. Then the prequels are, between okay to pretty damn good. Episode 3 is pretty damn good. Lucas was firing on all cylinders. If you had that George Lucas make episodes 1 through 3 and work on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, we'd be in a much different landscape right now in terms of entertainment. But if it flops out of spite, it's not petty. Imagine being talked about constantly for years. The funny thing is, they think we're in this abusive relationship with Hollywood where they constantly berate us, talk down to us, treat us like trash. But then we get to our turn where we have all the power and we're supposed to just roll over and say, thank you, sir, may I have another? No! That's why people are calling for boycotts and all this other dumb shit. It's not just story problems. It's more than story problems. It's the attitude. It's the treatment of the fans by Disney, the biggest company in entertainment. There are a lot of things going on. They need to, Some would say they need to be taught a lesson. And if they're taught that lesson at the box office for Star Wars Episode 9, well, good. I say they deserve it. So I do not think it's petty at all. I think it's deserved if it fails, if it falls on its face. Hey, SJW is watching this and disliking the video. Go drink some soy, jerks with no lives. You know what? It's funny. I never focus on the 10 people that want to thumbs down these videos because their little crusade doesn't affect me one bit. I'm busy living my life, hanging out with, let's say there's 450 people right now. So Good Morning Pop Culture's reached another level in terms of viewership. So we're averaging over 400 per day now. I'll focus on the 445 of you that like this show and the 5 of you that want to bitch up a storm and cause problems and say stupid shit. Well, then you know what? You can just go off to another YouTube channel where they'll pay you attention because I'm too busy for you. You're not worth my time. You're not worth the time of anyone in here. You know, we got a lot of good people, a lot of good men and women that like this channel, that like this show, and we're going to continue to move forward. We have, you know, all kinds of great stuff happening that can keep this channel afloat for a long time. So I'm not going to go crazy and burn this channel down out of spite because a couple people didn't like what I said. No, I'm going to continue to do what I do to entertain the majority of the people out there, the massive majority, the 99% of you out there that are liking it. There we go. For all the superfan Adam Shawhans of the world, for all the Barbarella Alphas, for all the Bonobi 75s, everyone out there, these shows are for you guys and girls. They're not really for the people that want to bitch up a storm and try to make lies on Twitter. That kind of stuff honestly never bothers me. I don't get involved with that. You know, when I'm done here, I focus on the next project, and we give you guys consistent work all the time. I don't worry about the trolls on the internet that are trying to tear us down and, you know, attack us. It doesn't even matter to me. Those people, whatever, they have the right to say what they want to say, but it doesn't piss me off. Yeah, you got it right, Cadmium Red. And you too. These shows are for, the thing is, the shows are for everybody. But if you want to come in here and bitch up a storm, cool. I'm sure the people in the chat will help you find the door relatively quickly. But yeah, it's an interesting time right now. I really do like that question though about, isn't it petty if Star Wars Episode 9 fails because of the fans? No. Plus, masterpiece is subjective, and I don't think J.J. Abrams has it in him. I always look at people's previous work to determine if they have something great in them. Like, let's use Edgar Wright for a moment. I love Shaun of the Dead and Spaced and Hot Fuzz, but I hated At World's End. But then Baby Driver came out, and I loved that movie. And I was excited to see Baby Driver. Even though I hated his last film, he had 2 of the best ones for me, 2 of my favorite movies of all time. Now, with J.J. Abrams, I don't really like anything J.J. Abrams has done. It's always derivative trash. It's not even homage. Like, Edgar Wright definitely is a fan of Sam Raimi. Cool. He homages Sam Raimi in the editing style and some of the tone. I love it. But J.J. Abrams just takes the real things and just does the same thing over and over again. So I doubt J.J. Abrams has it in him to produce a masterpiece. I'm just throwing out there my early opinion. Thank you, the Grand Inquisitor. I appreciate that. If you've never seen Baby Driver, it gets my thumbs up of approval. I may have ranked that my best film of last year. See, the big switchover from this channel happened around December, so I remember Dustin and some of the other guys being here, but I know for sure Baby Driver and It were at the top of my list for 2017 films. I own Baby Driver on Blu-ray. I have It now, both copies or both versions of the film, so it may not be the best movie ever made, but it's one of my favorites that I've seen in a long time, enough to own it right away. Oh, I don't know if I can do the Felix the Cat movie. I know I don't have time this weekend because tomorrow got channel stuff. Saturday, I got Australian wrestling. Sunday, I had something. Oh, yeah, it's called The Comic Book. I got to keep working on that thing. So there we go. What do I think of Fringe? It's one of his works I like. I've seen one episode of Fringe with Joel. I don't have enough experience to accurately critique it, but from what I saw, it wasn't enough to get me watching. And I've had, it was on Fox, so I didn't run to it. So that's really the best answer I could give you right now. I didn't watch it enough to like it or dislike it. How about doing a live stream with shitty shark movies? You mean about shitty shark movies? Down the road, right now, October's pretty much full about what we're going to cover, but I'm always open to suggestions. And for November, we just have our veteran stream, which will be on the 10th of November. Yeah, that's our veteran stream. Other than that, though, we have open things. Maybe we'll save that for the summer, because when people are out there swimming, and we'll scare people, watch out for the sharks, ooh, and all that other shit. People, let's see. Fringe was awesome. Entourage was awesome. I've never watched Entourage either. So, the TV shows I like. I don't really like watching a lot of TV. I'll get into watching like a nostalgia show, like an old show, like Third Rock from the Sun or something like that. Or I got to watch the Goldbergs tonight. I was supposed to give you guys the Goldberg report, but we're going to move the Goldberg report to Fridays, because I don't have enough time to get up, prepare for the show, make my coffee, watch a 25-minute TV show, and then go live. So the Goldberg reports will be every Friday morning. That'll be how we open the Friday show. So let's see. It's 9:30. We are nearing the end of the stream. We have until 10 o'clock. So if you guys have anything specific you want to ask, you want me to cover, let me know. We'll talk about it. This is the part of the show where we slow it down and make it about you guys. So I'll see what our good friends over at Screen Rant have to say about entertainment. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to save this for tonight. Oh, wait. Okay, this is funny. No, I'll save that for tonight. I'll talk about this one again tonight. Uh-oh. Oh, no. The shills are in true form tonight, guys. Or this morning, I should say. Don't leave. This is Star Wars related. You'll want to see it. Star Wars Resistance premiere review. A fun, straightforward, high-flying adventure. Of course, they would give it praise. Now, it could be great. I have to be honest and objective about that. It could be good. It could be great. But, of course, it's after the negative reactions of this show, it had to get a positive score. Layden Swallow 09, thank you very much for your super chat. You're not missing out, Hefe. Saw Felix as a kid. I liked the colors, but as already said, you're better off with Nostalgia Critic's critique. Well, I will go back and check it out. I was supposed to watch The Angry Video Game Nerd yesterday, but I got sidetracked. What did I do after the show? I was doing some art and some other stuff. My schedules are kind of weird. Like when you guys see me online or listen to me online in the morning, then I got like a 2 or 3 hour window, and then I got to go out to the gym and do other stuff and then get ready to be on at night, which isn't a complaint. Like I said, I love doing this, but I will check that out. I used to love the Nostalgia Critic. I used to get up every Wednesday morning in college and be like, all right, it's time to watch the Nostalgia Critic, and then go to class and then come back and do work, but not anymore. I graduated. But thank you, Layden Swallow. If somebody like sent me a copy or I found it on like a VHS tape for $1 or a quarter, let's be honest, a quarter, maybe I'd buy it for a joke. But I don't know if I'll spend good time and money on it. Do I own any of the Bond scores? Yes. Thankfully, a lot of them are on Google Play Music right now. But I own surprisingly, I own the Die Another Day extended soundtrack from La La Land Records. I bought that. I love that. The movie's bad, but the music's pretty cool. Yes, Alpha Terra Nemo, I've watched the Castlevania series and I've played the games. I enjoy the fuck out of the Netflix show when he whipped the guy's eyeball out. That was pretty cool. Or was it his finger off? Maybe it was both. It was cool. I can't wait for part 2 to come out. And the Castlevania games are fun. I like Castlevania 4 Super Nintendo, that one. I don't like Castlevania 64, which was the first one I ever played. So here we are with this Star Wars Resistance thing. Star Wars Resistance, Disney's newest animated series set in a galaxy far, far away, is a straightforward adventure with high-flying action, plenty of humor, and charming characters. What it's not is a series that's focused on filling in the gaps between the Star Wars saga or deepening the lore of the Jedi and the Force. Instead, Star Wars Resistance is a small-scale story starring even lesser known than the crew of the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels. But it has potential and could wind up being as important is an important chapter in the galaxy's fight between the light and dark. Like I said, I'm not trying to be overly cynical, but it kind of sounds like an excuse, like, it's basic fluff. Set just 6 months prior to the events of Star Wars The Force Awakens, the premiere episode of The Recruit sees Kazuda Kaz Ziano, a pilot of the New Republic, get recruited by Commander Poe Dameron and become a spy for the Resistance. Kaz, a young, naive, and positively starstruck by the Resistance, especially Poe and General Leia Organa. For his covert mission, Poe takes Kaz to Colossus, a refueling station located on the Outer Rim planet that's completely covered by water, where he does his work as a mechanic and a pilot for a starship racing team while secretly gathering intel on the local residents. Namely, Kaz is to learn who on Colossus is loyal to the Resistance and whose allegiance is to the First Order. I am not reading all this shit. There's just no reason why. A lot of people have made up their minds. That's fine. Here we go. Star Wars Resistance is a lighter, breezier Star Wars cartoon that channels pod racing more than it does Rebellion and Civil Wars. There are even pit droids and Greg Proops voicing familiar-sounding racing announcer. Still, the First Order looms just out of sight, knowing that in 6 months the New Republic will be all but obliterated by the Starkiller base, casts a shadow over the relatively peaceful time when thrill-seeking pilots sought adventure instead of combat. As Star Wars Resistance continues, Kaz's role in the Resistance and what it means for the impending conflict is sure to come up more and more. But in the meantime, it's fun to watch Kaz and the other pilots just enjoy their passion, flying. Oh, wow. Oh, man, that was so intense. Darth Tiberius, thank you very much for your super chat. Good morning. Love this channel. Keep it up, sir. Darth Tiberius, I will just for you, my friend. But thank you for the compliment. It's funny. I love when people say keep up the good work or keep it up because I enjoy working on it. It's fun. It's a double whammy, successful, and I get satisfaction, emotionally gratification out of it. The Shining watch party? You mean the Shinning? Do you want to get sued? That's the only Simpsons joke I still like to use. I do like The Shining, but I don't know unless we have a Stanley Kubrick wank fest if it would be good for a live watch party. I'm not saying no, because I do need some stuff to cover, with Kendo. Because here's the thing. Nick's out of town every weekend. So we're going to have some openings on the weekends. And maybe I'll do some stuff. I'll invite some people on as well. But I don't want to... I don't want to bore anybody. Maybe schlocky, stupid stuff is the best. Or if there's anyone out there that's an expert in The Shining or any of these horror flicks that may be a little more cerebral, if you have some interesting commentary, I'd love to invite you onto the channel to discuss that. So I'm going to reach out to a couple horror movie channels. I really want to get the guys from We Watched a Movie. I used to watch them back when I had like 2,000 subs. I go, man, one day I want to be like these guys and have 20,000. And well, we blew past them, but I still like them and I still watch them. And I think they're kind of close to where I live. So I'm not trying to have a meetup or anything, but I would like to work together on a video around Halloween, help them get their numbers up. Mike and Jay, they're cool. They're cool dudes. They talk about Michael Myers a lot, but tis the season. Why are they remaking Lilo and Stitch? I don't know. Disney remakes The Lion King, Aladdin, all these movies. So why not Lilo and Stitch? Mr. J90 says, now this is pod racing. I just died a little. Yeah, I did too. Right when I had to read, now this is pod racing. Well, let me kill the rest of my soul. Wizard! Are you an angel? Oh, God. Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. Star Wars. We already watched The Thing for the channel, so you guys can check that out. We've done it twice, actually. We did it 2 years ago, 2016, and we also did it in 2017. So yeah, you guys can, or we did it this year in 2018, just a few months back. So guys, check out The Thing watch party. Just type in World Class Bullshitters The Thing, and it should pop up early. Oh, Makini 90s here, folks. It is a party. It is a party. Let's see. How about Odin Movie Blog? I like Odin. I'm subscribed to that channel. It just depends. The thing is, it's not really about having a guest on just to have a guest. It's about who is into the movie, who knows what we're talking about. Because we've had people that aren't really involved with YouTube channels that know a lot about what we're covering, and that's what makes it fun. By the way, I tried to type in World Class Bullshitters The Thing, and it gave me all these other videos instead of our review of The Thing. So it's there, I promise. You'll just have to sift through it a bit. I apologize in advance, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun. I love the movie. Dion loves the movie. I think I passed out on the first commentary, so if you want to have a laugh, there you go. Did you miss my commentary on KK's rehire? Yes, Scarlett, I covered that on Friday. I went live instantly to talk about that. I'm going to, I guess, put together a bigger video about the Russian bot thing, because it's been discredited and disproved. Our friend Morton Bay Bug is trying to come out and defend himself, which, fine, you have the right to. This is not, hey, you lied, or you whatever, I disagree with you, you're instantly a liar. That's not what kind of a system this is. But I think his research is biased and poorly constructed. Well, poorly constructed is a little harsh. I think it's biased. I think he's looking to make friends with Ryan Johnson. I don't think you should tweet about how we should get together for coffee and this and that, because it doesn't really look good. And what about the Halloween reboot? It's in German cinemas on the 31st. I'm going to go see it here in America on the 18th. I can't wait. Movie event of the year after Infinity War. Alpha Terranima says, the only Disney remake I want is The Black Cauldron, only if to see TJ Kirk's reaction to the new Gurgi. I have never seen The Black Cauldron, but I know all about the drama and how Jeffrey Katzenberg cut out all the shit from the movie. I would like to maybe get a remake of that, or I'd like them to go into the archives and just, dig out the classic shit. Why not? That's all I can say is why not? But because the footage was destroyed and it's messed up. But hey, let me dream. Let's see. That Star Wars girl ripped it in half. Savage. What did she rip in half? This? Oh, the Kathleen Kennedy thing. Yeah, Anna's legit. She's cool. She knows her stuff. Now that Kennedy is rehired, do you think she will make an appearance at Celebration, or do you think she will step down before and they will introduce a new president? I think she'll be at one thing I don't think a lot of people take into account, and I'm not trying to build us up, the three of us, Ethan, Jeremy, and myself, but they watch what we do. They listen to what we say. They are going to use Celebration to strut. Kathleen's here and in full effect. The Force is fully female type of shit. They're going to go on about the success of Star Wars Resistance and this, that, and the other. And they're going to make this the biggest sycophantic circle jerk in the history of the Star Wars universe. And we're going to play it cool. We're going to be there. No one's going to do anything stupid, but we will be waiting to see episode 9 and how that react, or how people react to that. That's the one that they have to really focus on. So I don't think she'll go anywhere else. She'll show up at Celebration to talk about how she has achieved so much and is a woman and all this crap. And the thing is, people will boo, and then she'll pull that card, and then we'll just be like, oh shit, if we start booing, you know what I'm saying? They'll try to play that against us, like, oh, they're a bunch of sexists. So she'll be at Celebration. She'll be, waving and smiling and telling everybody, oh, thank you, and I deserve it. Well, I wish you would just take your fucking Oscar, your fake one, and just go home. Go ruin something else. Anna pretty much destroyed Morton's thesis at every single point. She showed how much self-contradiction there was in his stupid thesis. Maybe I should have her on. I've never had her on the channel, just the two of us. I'll have her on, and we can discuss that. I'll see what her schedule's like in the near future. That'd be a lot of fun. Right now at the High Council, we're not going to have a fourth permanent member ever. We've determined that it just, the flow isn't really there. Every once in a while, having a guest on, like with Anna, because she got attacked that week by the wards. But usually, we're just going to stick with the three of us because of the flow. One new person kind of. Plus, it's not just really the three of us. It's Ethan, myself, and then there's Jeremy Osteen, cotton candy haired Jeremy, proper Jeremy from the block. There's so many different Jeremys out there that join us. So the High Council is probably like 45 people each week. Anna would be great to have on a Doomcock. I like both of those people. Jesse Milestone's cool too. I subscribe to those channels. Don't forget Cecil. Talk about Disney remakes. What about Disney remakes? Do you mean like what's coming out? Or you mean like, oh, I'll just type in Disney remakes and see what comes up. Okay, Disney remakes. Wow, there are a lot of them. I'll just use the Google. Yes, the Googles. I'm 29 years old, going on 30, feeling old. And really, it is weird getting ready though for my 30th birthday. It's like, man, I'm out of the 20s. What did I achieve in my 20s? Quite a bit, actually. I'm really proud of where we are right now as a community. So that all happened at age 29. So let's see. Disney remakes. So we have Beauty and the Beast. Never saw the remake. I've seen the original. Jungle Book. Never saw the remake. Own the original. Cinderella. Haven't seen that one. Pete's Dragon. Didn't see it. 101 Dalmatians. I saw this back in theaters as a kid. I would have been, what, 8 years old? Yeah, I definitely saw this in theaters. It was okay. Race to Witch Mountain. One of the few movies with The Rock that I have not seen. Parent Trap. I saw it as a kid. Kind of liked it. Freaky Friday, never saw it. Shaggy Dog, never saw it. Flubber, liked it. The Love Bug, never seen it. That's all that popped up. So here we go. IGN has an article. Every upcoming Disney remake. Because IGN is, slightly above the anus of the internet. The paid for area. It's hidden by DLC. So here we go. So we've had Beauty and the Beast, which, if that's a screenshot from the movie, that looks terrible. The Beast looks fake as hell. Emma Watson doesn't look too good either. So Aladdin, at one point, Disney was considering a live-action prequel to 1992's Aladdin called Genie, but that was in the wake of Robin Williams' death. That has caused them to focus and shift onto crafting a direct remake. Guy Ritchie is set to direct a film which is said to be non-linear, take on the original, though it will retain the songs John August from Frankenweenie is penning the screenplay. What does that mean? It won't be linear. Oh, man. Leave it to Disney to try to subvert our expectations. Again. Let's see. Cruella, 101 Dalmatians, already got a live-action treatment, but Disney's next attempt will borrow a page from 2014's Maleficent and focus on the early years of the dog-hating villainess, Cruella de Vil. Emma Stone is expected to star with Kelly Marcel, 50 Shades of Grey, penning the script, and Alex Timbers, Mozart in the Jungle directing. Well, there's a movie I won't watch. Dumbo, that comes out soon. Yeah, March 29th. I don't even like the original Dumbo, but hey, if you want to see it, more power to you. I know I won't. It's got Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito, and it's directed by Tim Burton. Ooh, still not going to see it. There's a Jungle Book 2. Who's directing that one? John Favreau did the first one, and Ario. He's also slated to direct again. Man. Lilo and Stitch, one of the most recent live-action adaptations added to Disney's lineup. Lilo and Stitch is currently being scripted by Mike Van Ways. Aladdin producer Dan Lin and Jonathan Elrich are supervising this project, as well as, according to The Hollywood Reporter, Lilo and Stitch will be a live-action CG hybrid, and it's unknown whether Disney is planning for this film's theatrical release or exclusive for its upcoming streaming service. Again, I haven't seen this movie, and I'm not going to watch a live-action version. The Lion King. Now, this is the dumbest one to do a live-action version of. Lion King was perfect back in the day. I like that movie still. The Lion King. Disney will be keeping director Jon Favreau plenty busy, as Favreau has also been tapped to helm the Lion King remake. Like the Jungle Book, the Lion King will feature CG animated creatures. Donald Glover is voicing adult Simba. Not going to watch it. Beyonce is voicing adult Nala. Not going to watch it. And James Earl Jones is reprising the role of Mufasa. Okay, now that one sounds awesome. July of next year. I'll be doing anything but seeing that July of next year. Little Mermaid, fuck it. Maleficent 2, not going to watch it. Mulan, didn't like the first one, but at least she, looks like Mulan. Night on Bald Mountain. I don't know if Disney can do anything cool like this ever again. Peter Pan. No. Pinocchio, no thank you. Snow White, no thank you. Sword in the Stone, no thank you. And finally, Tinkerbell, definitely no thank you. Yeah. Disney's remakes don't interest me whatsoever. Not, there we go. No, I'm not going to go see Venom. Definitely for the channel. I'll let Dion and them check it out. but I'm sure as shit not going to be going to see it. Jonathan Fortin, thank you very much for your super chat. I heard Resistance is similar to Oban Star Racers. Oban Star Racers. What is Oban Star Racers? Let me look that up. So Oban Star Racers is an intergalactic racing competition that determines the fate of the universe. It was a French-Japanese anime series created by Savin Yeatman Eiffel of Say the Word Productions. Okay, so it has 1 season, 26 episodes. Yeah, it kind of is starting to look like that. I mean, so basically what Star Wars does now is they repurpose existing franchises and just throw, hey, how about a Star Wars version of this? And this is what it looks like for those out there while I oh man, it's anime. That's all I can say. I watched a little bit of Collider talking about KK's extension. Harloff was on the fence thinking she'll step down after episode 9, but the rest of the people were just soy-based. It's funny, I know what you mean by the phrase soy-based. They were kissing the ass. Oh, Kathleen, it's so great you're back. Please let us in the movie for free, early. Whatever. That's all I can say is whatever, man. Let's see, are people still talking about the High Council? Let's see. Yeah, listen to Robert Whitaker, folks. Guys, I'm ready to upload this stream so we can get the message to as many YouTubers as possible. Please do. It doesn't cost any money and takes literally seconds to do. It's just that easy. And I'd appreciate that because our numbers are going up. We're so close to hitting 75K. I mean, we were supposed to hit it earlier in the week, but there was a slowdown, which I don't really get upset over. I consider this week a huge success. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, we have 35 more subscribers till 75,000 public. And then I'd like to do, a special thank you stream for all of you out there. So if you are watching this, if this is your first time, subscribe, check out our stuff, stay for the 75,000 subscriber special. And then once you listen to the other content, you realize you made the right choice about joining our channel. That movie is not good, Jeff. It's an SJW fest, says Darth Tico. Well, don't worry. I'm not Dumbo, or no, I'm not a Disney guy. Never have been. I know Jeremy loves their parks and their movies, and he's got a family. I get it. Kids like what they like. You really shouldn't be, a totalitarian parent. You have to watch this. No, kids will find their own way. My mom guided me towards superheroes. I found Batman and Spider-Man and all those other things and loved them my own way. If she would have forced me to like The Flash, probably wouldn't have been a superhero kid. Just saying. Dumbo, is that the biography of Rian Johnson? Well, Dumbo's ears are as big as Rian Johnson's head is round. So, Maleficent is overrated. Again, I don't care. I don't like Angelina Jolie. Yeah, they probably won't have the crows from the original Dumbo. That's a safe bet. Star Wars has done stuff for just kids before, like Droids and Ewoks, but Droids at least was well scripted and doesn't insult the intelligence much. Ewoks is just Smurfs with fur, though. I've never watched those cartoons. Back when I was growing up a Star Wars fan, it really wasn't they weren't readily accessible. Hell, I didn't know about the Star Wars Holiday Special until I read about it in a book, and then there was like one image of Boba Fett on that creature. So, being a Star Wars kid in the 90s wasn't as easy as it sounds. I mean, you had access to the toys and you could get the movies on video, but that's about it. And then there was the CD games and stuff like that. It was a lot better than it is now in terms of quality. Just quantity was different. Let's see. Who else do we got? Harloff is okay, but his opinion always gets pulled down by the rest of the Shield, our cast of puppets. Those are a group of people that we'll never interact with because they're the type of channel that has their own take, and they think that we're the antithesis, we're the problem. I think, if anything, channels like that, Collider, Screen Junkies, all we do is kind of show who they really are. They're bought and paid for. DeFi Media, this and that. We're funded by you guys, so I just give my honest takes, and people like how I review things. I mean, look at somebody said, "Hey, talk about Disney live remakes." yeah, I gave you my take on it. So I can, the only thing I can guarantee you, well, not the only thing, but one of the things I can always guarantee you here is honesty. I'll give you my honest take. And sometimes, like I said, I talk about superhero movies differently than I do regular movies. But when I, critique them, I critique them against other superhero films. And well, basically, that's why I put superheroes the way I do. I talk about them the way I do because they'll never appear on my favorite films list. I mean, I guess the closest thing to having that would be like Spider-Man 2 or something. I don't know. But let's see. Who else is popping up? Did you see the recent study that found that the Russian bots were not the reason The Last Jedi has negative reviews? Like, obviously, but now it has mainstream proof. Yes, Robert, I did. That came from CNET. I'm working on my video. You guys know when I do sit down to do these, over the summer, before I took on other things and did, other, comics and stuff, I would write a lot of those. I'm going to write, I thought the Kathleen Kennedy one was really well done, but not a lot of people watched it. The one about the truth behind her award. So if you guys are listening to this right now, check it out. It's a good video. I put a lot of time. I did the research. I put in the effort. I'm going to do that for this one because, if anything, we're a digital timestamp, a digital time capsule of what was said about us at a certain point in time with proof, with backup evidence. So, when they shut the whole internet down, there you go. But until then, we'll use this as a nice Jedi Temple archives of how they attacked us. Why are they rebooting another Captain Marvel comic, 5th or 6th time in over a little over a decade? Cesaro Japan, I didn't know they're doing it again. I guess it's so they can, sell you more number ones closer to the movie. So Captain Marvel. Oh, Jesus. I am horrified by the artwork. The interiors look good. I mean, why am I telling you about it? Why don't I just show it to you? So this comes from Bounding Into Comics. Captain Marvel. Marvel Comics reboots Captain Marvel in brand new number 1. I know the people that are going to defend it say it's because of the movie and they want to sell it to the new audience. It's what you want them to do with Iron Man. Yeah, it is. But, I mean, this is like a lot. This character's never been that fucking popular in the first place. So now they're really pushing. So Marvel Comics reboots Captain Marvel in brand new number 1. And there's the cover by Amanda Connor. It's an okay cover. It pays respect to the character. See, you get to see the good Captain Marvel suit right here, but only the covered bits. Not a fan of this costume at all. And I really don't like the expression on her face. She kind of scares me. But you know what? She shows more emotion than Brie Larson, so I take back all criticisms. So the series will be written by Kelly Thompson with art by Carmen Canero and colors by Tamara Bolovin. See, normally I don't see colorists being listed. I could let me just take off the conspiracy hat. Or excuse me, let me take off the tinfoil hat and put on a conspiracy hat. But I'm going to say that they're marketing this way so they can promote this as an all-female comic book produced by Marvel in time for the movie, and they can really just kind of run with that narrative. It'll also feature cover by longtime Harley Quinn scribe and artist Amanda Connor. They will be joined by editors Sarah Bruce Studd and Will Moss. The new series will see Carol Danvers return to New York, where she's expected to face new threats and obstacles. According to the New York Times, the series will reconnect Captain Marvel with allies like Iron Man and her best friend Spider-Woman, as well as offer new relationships. Oh, so because the character went off the rails with stupidity, they're trying to bring an Iron Man so they can go, guys, this is like how it'll be in the movie, so people will get excited. Oh, okay, I get that. Now, it's interesting that the New York Times is referring to Captain Marvel and Iron Man as allies. Excuse me, New York Times. The two were recently featured in one of Marvel's big event series, Civil War II, that saw them on opposing sides. In fact, Carol Danvers would knock Tony Stark, a.k.a. Iron Man, into a coma. Well, I guess because Iron Man actually brings in money, what Marvel Comics needs to exist. And not a lot of people cared about Civil War II. I hated it. All right, Kelly Thompson discussed the character as well as the upcoming story. I think the character is incredibly important, maybe now more than ever. No, they're just making a movie. She would add, Carol, unlike a lot of other heroes, is incredibly human and flawed, which makes her relatable. No. Marvel characters are all flawed and relatable. Even Tony Stark. He's a billionaire. He's got so many different problems. He's an alcoholic. Peter Parker's the most relatable. I don't care what they want to use to promote Captain Marvel because the movie's coming out. She's not the most relatable character at all. Now, I relate to a dude like Spider-Man who comes home, well, you know, the lights aren't on or some dumb shit like that. I mean, we can all relate. Those are more humanistic things, not Captain Marvel. You'll really want to see her be accessible to newer, younger audiences who are going to see the movie, fall in love with, and want to seek out other Captain Marvel stories. But you really want to respect the fans that have loved the character for decades. I think there's a razor's edge there. Well, clearly that's not for me. Now, I will give credit. Carmen, what's her name? This is good artwork. I like the inking. The anatomy's good. This would never be featured on bad comic book art. And the page layout's cool, too. Maybe, though, I would have moved this panel somewhere else because it looks like you'd almost create a tangent. Anyway, I'm not here to critique art. Art's good. That's all I can say. I like it. I like the heavy inking, too. And it also goes to show how much color adds to a comic book page nowadays. So it comes out January 2nd of 2019. So another relaunch, another reboot. That's exactly what we all wanted, right, guys? So exactly what we all wanted. More Captain Marvel. Just look at that. There we go. Enjoy Captain Marvel. There you go, Carol. This one's for you. This bud's for you. Yeah, people don't like the cover for her face, but the interiors, I think, are very, very good. You know, I judge artists on the quality of their work, not, you know, male or female if they drew it. And it's funny too. Earlier this week, maybe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, we sat and we sang the praises of Marie Severin as well as Ramona Fradon. Those two ladies didn't have articles written about them and the power of women in comics and stuff. No, they were two ladies that were ahead of their time. They were as good as the dudes. Now this Carmen lady is as good as the dudes. Amanda Connor's not a bad artist either. I'm not really here to knock her. I just don't like this face. But I think it's kind of disingenuous to try to promote everyone involved on the comic to, you know, push an agenda. I didn't realize that Scott Mendelson had a new article about the failure of Captain Marvel at the box office. I'll have to check that out, too. Let's see. Jonathan Fortin, again, thank you very much. Rogue would have made a more interesting Captain Marvel. Yes, Rogue is a much better character than Carol Danvers. Here's the thing. You want to talk about relatable. Just because you're, you know, a blonde woman with a perfect body and a, you know, stellar military record doesn't make you relatable. But Rogue, maybe she can fly and have all this shit, but the fact that she can't engage in human interaction, physical touch, is much more, is much deeper than Carol Danvers' problems, and people can relate because maybe you could touch someone like on the arm and not drain their power, but you can't connect with somebody. There's a deeper meaning to the X-Men comic books. I mean, I'm reading X Factor. I just finished the first issue, and Scott, Jean Grey comes back from the dead, but Scott married a woman that looks just like Jean Grey and has a child, and now he's at this dilemma. Do I love Madeline Pryor? Do I love Jean Grey? I thought Jean was dead, all this stuff. There are just, you know, there are little human drama moments that these Marvel books used to have because they were written by real human people. Now they're just written by robots with agendas. What exactly is the Carol Core in this article, asked Cesaria Japan. I don't know exactly what the Carol Core is. I don't want to find out either. Thank you, superfan Adam Shawhan. I appreciate you, man. Why do we need reboots? To sell more shit to new people that don't like it already. This looks like one of the Good Times VHS covers. A bad time inside. So I'll look up the Collider is already dying. After episode 9, they will be done for. Well, guys, here's the thing. Collider has done that. Like Obi-Wan says, you have done that to yourself. Well, how have they done that to themselves? By choosing to go for the corporate interests and being exposed. You lose credibility. Now, thankfully, this channel, we can talk about any form of entertainment and people will show up because we've always been an entertainment channel. We're not a Star Wars channel. We talk about all kinds of geek culture ephemera. Well, that'd be products, merchandise. But my point is, we cover it all, and we give you an honest take and spin, which people respect. Collider is known for, to me, they're just advertisements, and their words don't mean anything. There was a point in time where I'd watch Screen Junkies a lot and enjoy it, but Andy Signore and his shitty judging is why I stopped. So let me see. Write down Scott Mendelson article. It'll give us something to talk about tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a video on it too. Yeah. Oh, real quick, let me look up one thing to show you guys. I always like to talk about things I want to do in the future because it gets people excited. So there's this X-Men book that came out, 2018 comic. I'm trying to think what it's called. It's like a throwback comic. It's called something, but I wanted to show you guys. It was one of the X-Men Grand Design. It was one of the nicest looking comics I've ever seen. Not in terms of art, but in terms of the book itself. I have never seen a nicer comic book than this right here. I just absolutely love this. It's a Marvel Treasury edition. This is what I would like to do with Stealing Solo and Anthology and stuff, is get it put out in these big grand editions that are like celebrations of comic book art. Now, I know you're thinking what I'm about to show you, oh, this cover just is whatever. Now, it's not about the cover art. It's about the physical book. So this is much larger than your average comic book. I loved when I saw this the first time. But if you look at it, it's got like this faux leather cover, oversized pages, really big, bold artwork, and then it's got, extra stuff printed in the back because X-Men Grand Design isn't that big. But this was one of the best looking books in terms of like actual book, like the physical book itself, not the content inside, but the physical book itself. It was one of the most attractive books I'd ever seen. And I would love to do more stuff like this. Maybe down the road, we can get a Stealing Solo Treasury edition or something, raise the funds, and it'd have like a special back cover and all this extra crap out there. This is the kind of stuff I would like to do with my quarterly comic books, big books, stuff you could take home and put on a shelf and see the spine and go, oh, this is one of Jeff's books. The covers are going to be cool. I just don't know where to get this printed. I don't know how to do it, but this is one of the neatest looking books I've seen. I'm trying to pull up another image to show you guys because it just keeps showing me interior artwork, which I like the interior artwork, but I don't know. I'll have to find more on it later and show you guys more of it. But just keep in mind, this is the next stage for me. Big, bold, beautiful books, and thankfully I have met with other artists who will want to work with me on stuff. I'm going to pencil and write and ink everything myself, but I will have different colorists, and I have a letterer locked in. He's a great guy. So that's the future of what I want to do. Just really cool. Respect the medium, because comics are one of the great American art forms, and not enough people respect them, including the publishers of said books. So I'm glad people are liking this. Thank you, Benobi. I appreciate. Do a metal cover edition. I looked into doing the metal cover and all that crap. I couldn't. Here's the thing. Ethan has a lot of people that know him, so they just, jumped in. My book will be awesome. It has great storytelling. The art, you've seen the art. You know what I can do. Maybe down the road, we can do another one for a thing like this, a big Grand Design book. I don't know. Anything's possible. So I would like to do that. That's why we did the blank sketch cover variant and stuff like that. Things that I'm able to obtain from a printer, because I'm not doing these myself. These are being professionally printed and shipped out from me to you, and all your books will be signed. But yeah, that is it for today's Good Morning Pop Culture, folks. It's been a great morning. It's 10:08 a.m., so it's time to put this baby to bed. Well, you don't go to bed at 10:08 unless you've partied all night, and much respect to you there. But tonight's World Class Bullshitters is going to be fun as always. We'll make sure Dion's on time so we can have a good show, get that pumped out. Last week we gave you an extra, last week's show was almost 3 hours long, I think. Much longer than we planned. But when you're in the middle of gold, you don't leave in the middle of a heater. You just don't. So we didn't want to leave in the middle of a show that was kicking ass. But I'm going to get to work on doing some more comic book stuff. Guys, check out your copy of Stealing Solo. Stealing Solo is doing well, doing very well. I mean, my first comic from a guy that some people don't really know, has done really, really well. How close is it to passing 34,000? Right now, we're at 33,889, 844 backers. I would love to see this hit 1,000 backers. It'd be really great. It'd be a big victory. It's already an achievement, a victory in itself. But to hit that number, 1,000 backers would be exciting. And so far, there's only a few days left. We're in the final week. So it's not like, oh, I'll think about getting it down the road. We're in the final 17 days. So there you go, folks. Stealing Solo, Captain's Parody, only available through Indiegogo from me, except no substitutes. Thank you, everybody, for the kind words. I appreciate, all the fun that we have every morning, and I'll be back again tomorrow with it. And I'm so glad we do 5 days a week now. It's not just a Tuesday through Friday thing. It's every day, a lot of fun. Be prepared, though, because you're getting a stream tonight with the show, one tomorrow, and then we'll be back next week with double streams some nights. So I almost got more than Patton Oswalt. Oh shit, I didn't realize that Patton Oswalt was trying to do a comic. It is nice, though. I see a lot of people on Kickstarter and these other places that are trying to fund comics, and I wish them the best of luck. But I do take pride in knowing that, basically I've been funded enough to buy a Jeep or something for a comic book, so that's cool. Next goal, the Batmobile. But thank you, everybody out there. I appreciate all of you. Have a good day. Keep on working and lurking. Get your asses home and get ready for World Class Bullshitters, the epitome of pop culture.